Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for staying with us through that break. We now have the next set ready to go for your viewing pleasure. Of course, on the desk, it's myself, Rain Day, and Pretty Hair joining me. Nick, what a interesting set we saw to start this day off. A very fast one for NIP and a very, very short one for SSG.
Yeah, can't really be sure what to expect in the next one either, so curious to see what Envy have done to bounce back from kind of their down spiral at this point. And the Knights similarly had a very hot start, taking a couple maps off of NIP. Really set our high expectations for this squad that has kind of yet to fulfill that ever since.
And it feels like they're a team that really can adapt well, and they can play. If anything, the correlation is they play potentially just as jank as NIP like to put it. As NIP, they'll try many different things. But really, Envy is the key for me. And looking at that, we have to start taking a look at some of their impactful moments as a team. And what do you really think they can do for this, and especially with that front line, Dethroner coming through and had a little trouble getting here.
Car trouble, man. But you can't stop him. Can't slow him down there. I mean, the front lines have literally been the thing that has almost defined the drafts. In the first set of the day, we're watching 4 front lines being banned out. We're watching Barrick. He's going to get some insane buffs. So Dethroner is going to have a lot of weight on his shoulders. Who's going to be playing the Atlas? Is it going to be G-Bunny? Is it going to be Dethroner? Who is going to make most likely take up that role?
Well, Dethroner did come into my Mixer chat right now. Mixer.com/right. If you want to check it out. But he was talking in the chat and saying, you know what, this is actually something he expects everyone to play. Atlas should be very, very contested.
Bam.
And he took a little offense that I had said, you know, we don't know if we'll see him. I mentioned that, you know, I think if we see him first set, we're going to see him throughout the entire day as a big thing. People might start out and ban them. And he definitely is here, although, like we said, getting ready a little later than he probably would have wanted to because he arrived a little later than the call time. But he is ready to go.
Sweat on that brow.
Smiles all around. And the biggest thing is, you know, I think Atlas will be a big key for him and his team.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what they're able to do with that. Another question, Evan, is Amani.
Absolutely, and maybe the man Payan himself, who is kind of the flex for this team, as Ricotta plays a little bit more of the traditional styles of hit scan, may be the guy that will take the mantle of Amani.
I can't wait to see if he's able to do it. We saw Tenor use it to pretty damn good effect. Even with and by the side of Atlas, it's all about what the Knights are looking to do. And as they're starting to float towards the bottom of the standings, I would be looking to use these brand new champions to leverage myself, get myself back in the game, and do something that the enemy team just isn't prepared for.
He definitely has brought out the pip. It's been successful. It's been one of the things that has definitely made that set with Renegades so contested. And it was getting those stat lines were similar to Tenor's, you know, 26 and 6, things that you're just like, well, if we just dealt with this, we would have been fine. But no one could. Imani definitely been seen to have an impact. We'll see how fast it can be incorporated if Pittsburgh have been prepping here. And that's really the thing. So much of the identity of this team is still being developed. And another thing about this matchup here, when you look at Envy, heading into it, Dethroner's old team was Envy. Dethroner was a sub for Envy for quite a while, and he said he's been looking forward to this matchup more so than any other matchup in the season.
And while they are in a kind of a tailspin right now, I'm just wondering, like, they're gonna wake up, right?
Yeah.
Like they've got to wake up.
Exactly.
And I don't really think I'm gonna be surprised when it happens because I am expecting it to surprise. I'm gonna be more surprised if it doesn't happen at this point. I'm just sitting here waiting for Envy to kind of return and get themselves back in this one. Brand new aggro tank comes out. I think Random Noob and Rubu can, you know, use these picks. I think they're damn good enough players to get Envy back on the tracks.
And I think that's maybe what they needed to shake up. And Random Noob seems like a guy who, from the beginning, has invested in Imani. And I think he'll be able to bring that out. I also think Rubu, plus the combination of Meta Pusher, those two minds as far as kind of leading the charge on the draft, as well as Tolkien, have really got a good grasp of the value of Atlas. So we'll see how much they prioritize it. But I think it'll be heavily contested. Let's put it that way.
I think this is going to be a damn good set. It's almost like a contest of like who has done more prep work for these brand new champions coming back into the meta.
All right. Well, I believe we have a interview ready coming up for Pittsburgh, I believe. Vapor is their coach. He's going to be talking to us, and we have Dave down there ready to get some words from him. So let's send it down for the interview and see what they have to say heading into this game.
Thank you, guys. I'm here with Vapor, head coach of the Knights. Team's all here, team's all together, we're all happy. You guys have had a couple weeks off now. Have you been spending it? What have you guys been up to?
We've been practicing and grinding as hard as we can. We've been studying Envy for the past week and a half. We've been watching all their games. We know what they do, and we are very confident going into this match. So we're very prepared.
Absolutely, and that's kind of what I was going to jump into, in that you guys have really been on the upswing. You guys, in your past few games, have really started to look a lot better, play a lot better. You face a big test here on Envy on the other side. I think you said it. You feel comfortable playing against them?
Yes, we are. The meta has shifted as we know, pretty severely, and Envy's had a hard time adjusting to it, and we have as well, but I think we've looked better overall, and I think that because of this, we are going to do very well versus them. Sure. And we're just prepared. We are ready.
Awesome. Well, feeling confident against their matchup against Envy here. Best of luck to you. Thanks for talking with us. Send it back to the desk.
Well, that's obviously what we would have expected to hear. A lot of confidence going into this matchup. Two North American teams, and this is something that I'll be looking at next, actually tomorrow, when we see NIP and Navi face up, because I'll be saying, what do these European mindsets have to do to maybe counter each other, or maybe limit each other's crazy factor to the other side of maybe a region of players that haven't been exposed to it? And what are the North American side of that, too? These players come up from the same, they have the same hometown, so to speak. So, they are going to be familiar with one another on a level that you won't see from some other matchups.
Yeah, we got to see, and that's what we almost thought was coming with the PPL. And being all in the LAN League, we thought it was just going to really converge, but there definitely still has been, I just think, different schools of thought at this point. It might take a little while to wash those old stains out, so to speak, in the way these guys used to play. But when he said, we've been watching all their old games and knowing how they're going to play, I hope that Envy don't come in playing like they've been playing. I don't hope they play like they play with their old games. They gotta freshen it up. They gotta play new characters and change their style. And I really think at this point they're probably going to have, realize that themselves and been working on how do we make that process happen.
What do you think has been the style? What do you think is the next step for the league and for Envy specifically?
I'm not going to say the cursed P word anymore than I have to, but the way that they play so aggressive and together. That's the thing. It's like Tyra's a low mobility character, but you saw Alex right with that Pip and that Ashe as this like little roving death squad, and this very effective little 3-man unit. So playing, I guess, super together and not making one guy get aggressive and take all the risk.
A couple of the big storylines for me have been the impact we've seen Rock Monkey not have, because he's usually that guy that just cannot be stopped. He's the isolated factor that, despite everything going wrong in the universe, he's that little bit of stability amidst the chaos. Yet he has not had that type of impact lately. He has been almost feeling human, dare I say it. And how do we get him back? How does Envy get him back into the flow of things?
Well, I don't think it's been a very good meta for like the hit scan guys, for the Rukadas, for the Cass. They've got Leons and Cassies, a little bit of Xin here, a little bit of Shaolin, but nothing's like quite really stuck outside of Cassie and Leon. So I want to see these guys. I mean, look at the way that NIP, again, sorry to toot their horn, but the way they're doing it.
Yep.
Alex is moving on to this Eevee. He's playing a little bit of that Tyra. Tenor plays everything in the game. You gotta expand and figure out how to make it work with different characters. I think Rock Monkey needs to branch out a little bit.
So we'll see if that ends up happening. Amani, it's going to be in the conversation between him and Paul, Random Noob, to figure out who wants to take that one. We've seen a little bit of Shaolin over as well in the toolkit coming out. Now it's Rubu. Let's focus on him because he's been such a key player as well. Came from that same PGS team, Purity, with Rock Monkey and really just get a surge of, I think, success into this Envy squad. And again, figuring out how to get through this slump. Atlas has maybe appeared at the perfect time to really galvanize him and his team.
Yeah, and this is going to be something that we fully expect him to play. It's been something that, he's always been that MVP guy. He's been an incredible off-tank. So once he hits his stride in the meta, and I'm looking for him to be one of those guys that sort of blazes this new path for Envy, they need something to catalyze them. There's a couple of great new picks coming out. Rubu's been an incredible player for them that has always blazed a trail in a lot of ways. He needs to be the guy. Him and Random Noob, again, those are the dudes that I want to be able to catalyze this Envy squad.
We'll see if they can obviously make it happen here. We're getting close to starting out this game. Seeing a lot of the performances and highlights here, but it's very, very close to being able to see them actually throw down. It's been a faster day than we would have expected, but that's when you get a 4-0, you're going to have those speedy days, especially against a set you would have thought would be contested. However, right now we do have meta pusher Justin Wilkes standing by, the coach of Team Envy, to talk to us about today's matchup. Let's send down to Dave, who's got Justin standing by.
Thank you, guys. Down here with Meta Pusher, the rest of the team is discussing the sprays, making sure that when they make the big play, they can properly spray on the ground and make sure everyone can see it. First of all, I think we get the vibe. How's the team feeling today?
Oh, we're feeling good. Actually, we're really happy that, with the Knights, the Throner was able to make it. We were kind of worried about that situation, but happy that, both teams have all 5 players here.
Absolutely. Let's look over at the side of the Knights. They've been on kind of an upswing, playing a little bit better as of late. How do you feel about the matchup?
I think we match up pretty well with them. Obviously, things aren't going as well as we had hoped coming into this season, so we're absolutely not underestimating anybody. This is a team that's right there with us in the middle of the pack, and so it's a big match for us. And
we talked about this actually on the desk last week, but we've seen Atlas and Amani come out a little bit. Do you plan on maybe bringing them out today?
Yeah, they're pretty big part of our strategy. They're strong. I think if they're not looking for them, they're probably doing something wrong. So.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck to you guys. Thanks for talking with us. Happy birthday to Telke as well. Let's send it back to the desk.
I was scrolling Twitter and I found out that there's so many different things around Amani that are trending that have nothing to do with Paladins. I mean, Amani high school scholarships, the Amani, the greater. It's getting religious up in here. I'm like, wow. And then I see a couple of my tweets, which is just very funny. I've never had Amani trend on my own, Twitter suggestions here. So for those of you who are excited to see a little bit more of her, you do not have to wait too long. I'm sure I would expect both these teams to be willing to bring it out of their back pocket. Gus Cutie adjusting the pockets right now. Don't see an Amani back there, but maybe there is one in hiding. Rubu still trying to work things out. A lot of conversation with Envy. So hopefully that
was that a stank stare across the way from Cuss?
I don't know.
Couldn't tell. A-Peak, Frozen Guard, Frog Isle, Brightmarsh taking a seat for this set. Jack Falls will be the first one up on the docket for the boys. Knights with the first pick here as well. Now the bans in the first set started off very standard.
Yes.
You had your Makoa, you had your Khan, you had your Torvald, you had your Cassie. Pip is going to be the first and instantaneous ban. That's going to be a big one in this set, but I didn't quite expect it to come from the Knights.
And the Drogos, that's a big deal, looking to really target out Random Noob's champion pool. But at the same time, targeting out Payans. But Payan is very flexible as well, as Random Noob is, but has been kind of flowing into that rule. It seems like Eevee here going to be the easy choice aside from maybe a Zen for Envy, but they are running out of options for him. They're running out of options.
No Pip, no Drogos. First pick Bomb King. Very, very much so. Going at Paul, and Zen should be fine here if he wants to go for that. I don't know. I don't know if he'll go for the Eevee here on Jag.
Are you kidding?
He loves Eevee, but I don't know that it gets. I don't think it's super great on this map. Bomb King, Cassie, and Atlas. Fifth here in the Knights Envy set. We'll see what they do with it.
Interesting. Envy playing a little bit more patiently here. We did say that champion pool could overlap with Rocks a little bit, and Amani is the conversation piece. Envy at this point, no Cassie. You've got Leon in the tank, but Amani, do you bring her out? It could also be the Eevee. Jaguar falls, so the pressure.
It's a good start for the Knights, man. Oof.
Could be there, and you're right. The Knights do have a very, very nice lineup for this map specifically.
And Nara Ash still open. Envy hovering the barrack right now, and they do love that pick. Works well with the Luminary as well. See if they look to go for that. Pretty standard stuff here outside of the Atlas. Yeah. The young Zen for noobs. The young Genos to pair with that Zen.
They gotta be happy about that, because even we talked about that's pretty much all we were expecting. It was Zen or Eevee, and I don't think they picked a comp where Eevee feels great about diving any of those 3 characters right there.
Yeah.
So it seems pretty predictable. And I'm really curious to hear how we were discussing what would the Zen Atlas look like? Who would counter who the most? How would that work? Really curious to see that play out in this game.
Definitely. As long as he counters and doesn't get set back too often, I think he'll be okay. What you were saying, there's a potential weakness if he has to spend cooldowns to get where he wants to go, which I don't think that's necessarily the case on Jag Falls. I think he's smart enough to be able to play around that. Instant banishes, though, with the Exile, that could be something that he struggles with.
Oh, yeah.
Exile hasn't been a huge part of it. Diggy Dog's definitely made the play. And it's kind of not fair for me to say that because it's been, what, 2 games at this point, 3 games. So I'll chill on that opinion. I think it's a really cool ultimate that you could do a lot of cool stuff with. But we have yet to see it happen. Very excited that we do get to see the interactions with Xin, though.
Yeah, it's, it's really, I think
It's a time for learning.
Yeah, it's time for learning, still seeing how they're going to use it. In my experience, it's been great for shutting down healers or that pesky DPS, but you have to worry about the position it puts you in because you're not really doing damage. Your teammates have to follow up. Good thing these guys are playing professionally in a soundproof LAN box where they're all talking to each other, so they should be able to do that as long as nobody's falling asleep at the keyboard and mouse. Leon will be taken as we assumed. Pretty much straightforward to pick what Envy we're going to do. Knight's kind of planning it that way, banning out Random Noob to the point where Xin seemed like really the only viable choice.
Yeah.
And Leon, since Cassie was taken, really forced them to do that or go for the Amani. Seems like Knights have something up their sleeve. Will Envy be able to respond to get out of this slump? Let's send it down to Dave and Gore. And Dave... Just kidding. Just trying to make a Dave mistake, but I can't do it. Send it back to them to get ready for this game.
Evan and Nick, thank you. Thank you very much, the two of you guys up there. Feeling good on this Thursday. Set number 1 already in the books. Dave and Gore here on cast number 2.
Dave and Gore and Dave.
There's a third. The spirit of Dave is also...
You have your presence is so forthgoing.
Random Noob. You can tell he's laughing through that entire thing.
It's one of those, like, you think, haha, this will be a funny pose, and then you realize, like, Jameson's standing behind the counter going, okay, and 10, 9, 8,
I got to stand here
7,
for an hour, right?
You have to stand there holding that pose.
That's right.
And after about 4 seconds holding a pose, you start to feel really silly.
Right.
Then you go to 8 seconds. Then, like, those last 2 are almost excruciating.
It's like family pictures. You stand there, and they're like, all right, one more. 10 minutes later, your face is, like, stuck like that. You forgot how to not smile because you've been smiling the entire time.
Or your cheeks are just really sore.
Or your cheeks are sore. That's really what I meant. That was a drastic way
you
to
decide?
Oh, God.
Too much? Too much. Let's
look at the game. Let's look at the game. All right, well, not enough time to look at the game. Another pause sneaking in here. Let's look at the teams, though. Pittsburgh obviously prioritizing Atlas, but I mean, that's not the type of thing that's going to sneak up on Meta and the rest of Envy, I don't think. I mean, we talked, Meta has been like an Atlas truther since he was kind of announced, since his kit was kind of brought out. This is a champion that they have not only been prepared to play, but play against, I think, since day number 1. As I'm sure most of the teams are. But I don't think this is the sort of thing where they see an Atlas and they don't know how to play against it. But he's shown today that he's a pretty strong champion in the right hands.
You don't let Atlas go 5th pick unless you know at least somewhat how to deal with it a little bit. And of course, if you watch, that first map of NIP and SSG, you have a little bit of knowledge to see how NIP did it. Unfortunately, right now, you're getting just hit with the full brunt of this weapon. It can change the game with how much damage it can do. And again, the charge time of the weapon just decides on how precise do you want to be. Like, do you want to hit a single 900 shot, or do you want to walk into their face and shotgun blast them? At this range, you can just kind of click, 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 keep going as fast as you can. And because of that, you're going to be able to get first blood.
They just run down Rubu. Off to a tough start here. Our Envy, 3 swept down back to base for them. Rock Monkey, one of the lone 2 standing here at the end. He's getting aggressive, though. He's getting up into the face. Just narrowly loses out on a duel to Ricotta there. They find themselves 75% on the point, but Knights find themselves the fight win. And now 57% in climbing here for them. I do have to I have to tip my cap to all of the designers and developers over at Hi-Rez, because the Atlas gun is just such a satisfying gun to use and play with. Like, the sound, the mechanic of it, just everything across the board. Beautifully designed and calculated champion, I would say.
Well, I'm just going to tell you this. So first off, 1350 for the headshot right there makes it very difficult for Togi to stand around. That is not the birthday present he wanted today, as he is getting locked down. But I'm going to throw it out this way. This is the way I think this needs to be worded. G-Bunny, as a flex frontline, like kind of damage frontline player right now, has proven himself to be ridiculously good at playing this role. Normally, that's going to be on con. Now you give him something like Atlas to play around with, and it very obviously is fitting comfortably for not only him, but the Knights as a whole.
Right.
And it's making such a huge difference right now. Like, it feels like, yes, Envy might know a way or have a theory as to how to crack him down, but so far in practice, he's running them down.
It's just so interesting and satisfying to watch. I mean, it's such a similar champion, I think, to the way that Khan gets played, in that you're the hybrid damage tank-esque player. G-Bunny is very comfortable on the Khan. We've seen time and time again, so it's not surprising to see him now transfer over to the Atlas and pick up the success sort of where he left off. Rock Monkey's leading off your damage charts here.
Yeah.
Well, as I say it,
Bouncing back.
overtaken by Payan on the Bomb King here. And we need to make their stand. 1.5 minutes left, though, here on this payload push. Payan finding the first, Ricotta finding the second. The defense is not looking great here so far for Envy. The Dome Shield's going to come out, try to mitigate a little bit of this pressure. But unfortunately, more kills coming off on the back end, Gore.
I mean, kills coming out like that, being able to just bop him up, take him down. Ricotta finds the shots he needs. And again, it's a team game, and everyone on the Knights are putting their name in the ring. They came to play today.
They did.
And this, I'm going to be honest with you, when you find out, oh, hey, they're just walking in because they've had car issues, like they've had trouble getting here, had to kind of like hope they would arrive on time.
Yeah. And
they sit down and play like that. Like, that's insane to be able to come in and play like that. Normally, I was expecting, okay, it's going to take them like a couple of rounds to adjust. Like, even if you've been able to practice a little this morning, there's not as much time, I think, that you're going to be able to kind of like recalibrate into this. They have one death.
They have one death.
And it's on Dethroner, which is probably, like, out of all four,
That's who's
all
gonna
five
die.
of these, it's the person who's most vulnerable
Yeah.
and easiest to kill off compared to the rest.
Well, I was going to point out Ricotta. He had a good slash line as well. Payan, a great-looking slash line. But then G-Bunny is like 8-0 and 8 right now on the Atlas.
Your boy's good.
And that's a big difference maker in this. 8-0-4, sorry, in this one. Still, though, 8 kills, 0 deaths on the Atlas. Envy need to find a way to answer back on this. I'm sure they have something up their sleeve here. Rock Monkey dropping Payan is going to make life a little bit easier here for them. G-Bunny just dancing around this statue. Going to be able to rewind himself. He is going to rewind the Khan in this case. The fight going pretty similarly, though, Gore, to how we saw it in the first time. Envy just kind of hanging on the point. Zin, in this case, is the one getting up the percentage for him. But the Knights have shown us that they hang around, they find the damage, and then they calculate their aggression. The King Bomb could start things off.
The two things that are making this a little different was the fact that Envy was playing a little slower. They weren't pushing as hard into the Knights. Unfortunately, the King Bomb comes out and creates a little bit of havoc there in the backline. No Khan, no more. But that's 93%. All they have to do is stand here. They have the comeback mechanic. Because of that, they're going to be sitting at this 2-0, but with 99% to play with.
And Toki finds one to start off this fight. The Grumpy Bomb's going to come out for a little bit of zoning. Make it 2 now for Toki. Happy birthday. Rubu with 1 as well. They need to get a touch on it if you're the Knights. But unfortunately, the kills are all coming up red. G-Bunny's not going to have a say in the matter, and Envy find point number 1.
And that call right at the very end, you saw G-Bunny. He goes in for the ult. He's looking to banish some players.
Yep.
And then he recognizes, you know what? I'm in a 1v5. This is not exactly like, even if I make this a 1v2, what am I going to get out of this? Cancels the ult, but the thing about Atlas ult is that it does retain 60% if you fire no charges. I believe it goes down very similar to like a Victor ult.
It does,
so
yeah.
every shot that you fire will kind of pull that
decreases,
back even
right.
more. So I think it's like 40, then 20, then 0. But being able to just maintain it, get back up, already at 80% to be able to charge it, that means he's going to have that banish up soon enough to maybe use it in this next fight for the defense or to have it for the next point.
No, that's a good point. He won't mind to use that, knowing, well, if there was a potential for it to come out, the instinct at least was there to use it. The Dread Serpent's going to send Rubu running here. So 1 kill so far on the defense here for the Knights.
Get back there.
And God, it just shows you how powerful the stasis field is. I mean, look at this. He's able just to dance around the backside of his wall, essentially, and wins the 1v1 there against Rock Monkey. Finds a second with the help of Payan on a random noob. Payload did get a little forward momentum. Envy 5 ultimate strong. The Knights, on the other hand, they have the Atlas ult. Here's the overpower. That's going to get rid of the Atlas. Although, actually, yeah, I was going to say, good not to throw him off the map, because in theory he could rewind himself back. That would have been a funny interaction, but smarter than that here. Is Rubu.
I kind of wish they had made that mistake because it would have been fun to harp on someone for it.
Right.
But I'm glad they didn't because that is I want to word it as a rookie mistake, right? That's like that's one of those things that you would do.
Even I thought about it.
Yeah, that would be a grab throw. Like you wouldn't think about who you have. You just grab someone,
grab throw.
beat them off. That was really good because it goes for the yoink and then just holds it.
Keeps him there. Ricotta with one here. The payload is kind of stalled out where it's at for the moment. Payan has found himself some good king bombs in this game so far. They'll be fine just to keep the defense where it's at, to be honest. I mean, they're charging up their ultimates. They'll have 5 strong here in a moment. The overpower, as well as the spite used for Envy to try to get it through, but they haven't really made much progress, Gore. And now we're getting to the point where the teams need to decide how much they want to invest, either defend or get it pushed through.
I mean, you're playing a dangerous game. If you push this, you're going to tie it up 2-2, and you have to win a point fight on even ground. Otherwise, you're giving them that 3rd point. Right now, though, a couple of kills coming out for Zen could be very big. Kills coming out for the Knights right now are a little bigger, though. Overall, going to trade 2 for 2.
The damage dealers are alive, but the frontliners being down means they're not going to be able to get a touch onto the payload there. They were really starting to come to life there at the end of that team fight, actually. They left Rock Monkey and Random Noob alive just long enough, and the fight was kind of starting to turn around. But the selective targeting at the beginning of the fight there for the Knights seals it. 3-1 here for them. Cutie with some good Damba play as well. He had some good Dread Serpents and sent a few running. What do Envy need to change here, Gore, to get another point fight sealed up? What did they change, I guess, from point fight 1 to point fight 2, maybe, that looked better for him?
Honestly, it was a little more patience and sending Random Noob off to the side. It kind of separated the attention, which specifically it separated G-Bunny from the rest. It kind of had him looking a little bit away. It also kept Ricotta kind of on his toes, like, oh man, is there ever going to be a Zen coming up on me? I like that move, but the problem is you're going to have to keep that up now. And maybe a little more. You need to win this fight because the Knights are coming to you.
Through time and space is good. Down goes Cutie. Payan, though, trades back 1 for 1 here so far. Tulky just dancing around the back of his shield, but it essentially disappears here. Ricotta and Payan are the 2 kills now on the side of the Knights, but the blue health bars are starting to go really low here. Envy could put the foot on the gas. The rewind's going to help G-Bunny keep himself alive for a moment. Rock Monkey so low. That gun does so much damage. Rock Monkey gets melted as well as Tulky here, and though Envy are on the point, the Knights win the fight, and now they're the ones in control.
And one of the things to remember, because if you look down, G-Bunny has a lot of health right now, and when he heals up to full, it makes it a little bit bad. But it is going to be loadout cards that are bringing this up. I mean, Atlas is, I think, 3,400, 3,500 at base, so it is not anywhere near the amount that you'd have to burn through normally.
Right.
But adding that on, making sure you have that, and then, of course, running Deja Vu, and being able to have his own rewind, like, he's keeping himself alive, right? Very similar to, like, Barrick with his resets and his shield. And that's kind of the strength he has right now, is just, if you focus in on G-Bunny, he can just be like, cool, I'll see you back at full health in just a second.
And look at, God, the way he uses that wall. I mean, it keeps surprising me. I guess it shouldn't. But the fact that you can, it blocks everything, and he's able to stand behind it here. 93% will become 100 here. Pittsburgh Knights take game number 1 in convincing fashion. Envy showed some life, but the Knights had the game plan all figured out. Atlas continues to be a pretty big linchpin in a lot of these lineups, Score.
And honestly, I feel like, again, you had said maybe Envy had a plan coming into how to deal with him, and then maybe you just see G-Bunny playing it more aggressive, a little different than how you expected. Going to be a lot more difficult to lock him down. Of course, it was the 2 front lines. They stood up. They gave a hug. They're excited.
They're feeling good. Pittsburgh Knights out to a 1-0 lead. Let's send it back to Evan and Nick to hear their thoughts.
Wow, wow, wow. Big day for Atlas, for sure. And the Pittsburgh Knights starting things off great.
Absolutely. Hey, keep talking, though, Envy. I mean, don't couch yourself out of this.
Oh, they look so sad. They look so sad.
It's tough. I mean, you have great moments. Rock Monkey does a ton of damage there. Random who's trying to hang in, but I think that's really just a great performance. I thought G-Bunny was flawless, and the rest of this Knights draft is also like your tier 1 pick, man. Like everybody else is just hyper comfortable. Not to say that Team Envy aren't, but I think Random Noob, if anyone, is getting picked out a little bit.
Okay, so you look at Payan 9-4 and Random Noob 2-7. I'd say Pittsburgh Knights had a plan and they executed it to an even higher potential than they had thought they could, because the Pip, into the Drogos, into the Bomb King, first pick with Atlas and Monty still available, Khan still available. And then in Envy, they take Khan Genos, they leave Atlas on the table. Pittsburgh get the BK, they get the Atlas and the Cassie for free. I mean,
part of this is a lot of the homework, I guess, that the Knights have been doing on Envy. They know what they like to pick, they know what they think is going to be critical for them on certain maps, and they're just attacking that right now ruthlessly. We'll see if that continues to work. That was clean. I mean, ooh-wee. Yikes. Ricotta. The quickness, man. All that Kovacs.
Oh, man. A great game for them to start off in this set. If Pittsburgh are going to win this set, They definitely got to take game 1, maybe game 2, and get some momentum rolling. Envy, I think if they got off to a good start, Pittsburgh lost pretty bad game 1. That would be a tough one for them to come back from. But the pop-offs are exactly what they need. It's playing into their hands now. Envy looking to quell their momentum. The first map went their favor, and that was a very weird ban pick phase. Will map 2 be the same? Because now we should be going, I would assume, on Envy's map, but I would have typically, because I'm used to Envy being so high in the seeding, I would have assumed they would have had first map pick in general. But
I asked Meta how it works. He said it's a coin flip, and then you basically get to pick what you want, and then the seeding, whatever the coin flip determines the quote seeding.
Gotcha.
And then
you get first
the
pick
next
and
half
map
of
choice.
the phase, it just flips.
Gotcha.
So in this matchup, on the back half of the phase, whoever won the coin flip will by default be the lower seed in the next half. Kind of wonky. Going to Timber Mill. Speaking of kind of wonky, that's very, very early for someone to be picking this.
Yes,
and it smells more like Knights, I think, than anything.
Yeah, I suppose. So if we know if that is the Knights, then they just went on Envy's map, which is equally bad for Envy. If this is Envy's map, however, then that means that maybe they've got something a little strange up their sleeve that they want to test the Knights on. And it's going to be an early Kinessa ban. Envy banning the Genos. And it does seem, Nick, that this might then be...
Gotcha.
Yep,
this
just
map is
confirmation.
Just confirming that with production now for you guys.
Envy's map. G-Bunny there. Noticing the Torvald ban. It's up to his team now to see if they want to ban out the Atlas. They're just going to ban both snipers. Change the game.
Okay, so Rand will at least have some of his pool available. I think you can rock with the pick.
The deep claims you.
Makoa first pick. I'm excited for just a time when Makoa's played. You know,
it's pretty
all the time.
Keep talking, Pally.
You mean like
You
before
about to get messed up.
bans, when we could rewind
In
time.
this game, you win or
Atlas
you
has
die.
rewound even
There
the
is
picks
no
and bans
middle
at
ground.
this point. And still no Atlas selected. The Knights not prioritizing that whatsoever. And so happy. This is always a bad sign. I remember just the moment where they gave me con, and then G-Bunny gets the con, he pops off, and they win. Envy maybe falling into the trap.
G-Bunny's happiness is definitely correlated to the win rate of the Pittsburgh Knights.
Oh, 100%.
And they feeling very happy, and Envy are
stranger.
obviously they lost, but you can not be like face down in a puddle of mud after one loss in a best of 7. That's what I worry about, is like these guys are down on themselves right now because they're in a bit of a tailspin. But something's got to pull them out of this one, and the Knights are very like super amped momentum team. They're getting out of the chairs going down the line, giving you know, high fives and fist bumps, and that's what is a little bit scary, especially for a team that is lacking that sort of passion and that sort of, you know, amp right now.
Yeah. And I think at this point, what they're probably discussing, probably feeling so confident about, is the fact that who's going to contend from this range at this point? Who's going to shut down the mobility, flexibility of the EV here? I mean, you really do have an opportunity to then pick Atlas. I mean, what, 9th? I mean, I think NIP at this point probably laughing in the, you know, in the hallways, because they're like, how is this champion going so low? What are these drafts?
Especially on a map like Timber, it seems like it would be pretty good, right? Where you just cut off the entire map.
Yeah.
You can grab this Atlas who has a gun, who's going to be incredibly effective on a map like this. I'm about as flabbergasted as you.
Usually they have like one chance to kill someone before at Timber Mill before they kind of like sneak behind the wall again. And like, you know, second chance seems to be a perfect way to make sure that you do that safely. Pip here is the real big change up for Envy. They've got that Pip that can rain down damage from the sky. Not quite as mobile as the EV, although has the potential to be if min-maxed perfectly, but without that true vertical nature to be able to stay into the air. Some areas are a little bit out of his reach. The Cassie will be selected, and it will be the Barrack to pair up with the Atlas. So, who are you giving this one? A lot of dangerous, to be fair, a lot of dangerous champions on the side of Envy. But for some reason, it feels like Pittsburgh Knights are getting the better end of it. For some reason.
Yeah. I think they do. I think the Knights, I like their draft a pretty significant more. And I want to see the temporal divide on this map.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Deja Vu. I want to see...
Could be kind of good, though,
on
that.
Could be kind of nuts.
You know, it's interesting. I wonder. It could be pretty good in the way this point, it's just so bowl-shaped, you know. I mean, I feel like you can hit a lot of people here and there. The way this is clumped, is safe areas to play. I mean, that contested little ramp up near the cubbies, right above it, you know, where 2 people usually send 2 other people, just a big ol', you know, setback there. I love the ideas of it. Can't wait to see Atlas again, 2 games in a row. Has a 4th pick for Pittsburgh Knights. We'll see if they can do the deed once more on Timbermill.
Do the deed, indeed. They're going to look to do it. Look to go up 2-0 here on Envy. Thank you, guys. And Gore, we kind of talked on this, looking at picks and bans. It's sort of interesting to me in that, I mean, I don't know if Atlas was like the reason that Envy lost last game. He's obviously a strong champion right now, and we saw SSG lose with Atlas though earlier today. But it's been up for Envy both of the games so far, and they've just chosen not to go that route. We'll have to see how this one plays out. I mean, they get a Cassie Pip, which, you know, on any other day we would have been looking at them instead of the Atlas, saying like, wow, those are 2 really strong champions. But they've kind of shown the tendency to move away from the Atlas, at least to start off today.
And I mean, when you're looking at someone who's going to be able to gain range and honestly maybe curry favor against a Makoa, Atlas is going to do it. This is going to be really good for Timbermill. I feel like this is a very comfortable draft overall for the Knights, which makes it even scarier to think about the fact that Atlas has been 5th and then 7th pick. Like, it has not been high priority for either of these teams. Yet G-Bunny is just as happy that he's getting it every time.
And that's actually a really solid point that I hadn't really considered. When you look at this map, you have a good rewind there. Nice play there from G-Bunny. Rewinds Random Noob right into his grasp, and now he's going to be taking on the Makoa one-on-one. Gets himself topped off here. Tolki's trying to stay alive, but that blast just does so much damage. Tolki goes down as well. That was Rubu, excuse me, on the Makoa, and he falls. Pittsburgh Knights have it all figured out right now, 57%. But what I was kind of saying is, I didn't really think about that. You look at a map like this where there are some really long-range encounters where G-Bunny can just charge up the gun more and have the one long-range straight blast, or you're encountering someone like Rubu on the Makoa 2 feet away, in which case you can essentially shotgun blast him from really close. It's a very versatile primary weapon he has.
And it's this area where I actually think the map layout is really good for the lob that he's gone with Deja Vu. And even if you go Temporal Divide, right, you have to look at, you know, Envy. The range they have is going to be this Cassie, and right there, gets rid of cuts, does well. Rock Monkey last game did well, 100,000 damage when the next highest was 80,000. But is it going to make the big difference? Can they use that when it comes to the point fight? Getting a defense is one thing, but you have to be able to win the fight around the bowl, right? You have to be able to win the one that matters.
You have to win a point fight to win the game at some point.
And as of right now, I mean, with the Eevee, the Leon, the Atlas, I feel like a lot of the control's coming over to the Knights.
Does seem that way. A good team fight there from Envy, buys themselves some time. G-Bunny making his way around here. Rubu just kind of hanging on the point. Envy will be okay with this engage, I think. I mean, they're just hanging out right now. The Leon gets yoinked down. The Enlightenment's going to buy some time, and it is going to connect onto Rock Monkey. Way to turn around and find one for Ricotta. Payan cleans up Tolki as well. Rubu's going to shell shield himself and spin out of danger at the moment. G-Bunny's going low, but that rewind fills him up to full health right there. He was so low. Rewinds himself back to full health. That's the power of Atlas right now. And at the moment, the Knights find themselves a fight win, getting hooked up. Here's the 1v1 again with the Makoa, rewinding him. Rock Monkey continuing his tear. And I think, Gore, that's the kind of guy you have to lean on in this case. Is Rock Monkey needs to find some picks. I mean, they have the Pip who can kind of jump on him as well. But the reason they won that last fight is because Saris got blown up almost immediately, I think. So that's where they'll look. He's hanging up there as far as top damage goes as well. But at the moment, Ricotta's in the lead.
I mean, it's the dangerous game, right? So actually, beautiful.
Nice.
From the bottom, Convergence pulls it in and kills off Rock Monkey as he's looking for the pick onto Cuss Cutie there on the Saris. And that's the thing, right? You can look at Rock, you can say, you're the one who wins us this game.
Yeah.
But the problem is then you're relying, again, on one person. If that one person is gone, what do you have to fall back on? Right now, it doesn't seem to be anything. That's the thing. The Knights have, I want to say, 3 champions that can win them the game if they have a good performance. And if all of them are just having average performances, then it's good. Okay. Right now, they're all playing perfectly the way they need to. Envy are the ones that are kind of, I want to say, rocky with the way things are going. Not just because Rock Monkey is the one that they're relying on, but I mean, Random Noob, this Pip so far hasn't been doing it for me.
He found a pick just now, but it's kind of been on the back end of some aggression from the rest of his teammates. I mean, he's really been hanging in there. I don't think it's been like a horrible game out of him by any means, but it just hasn't. I mean, you look at when you think of Random Noob, at least in the past. There's a good ultimate, freezing out a few of them. This really shows us the power of the ultimate as well. Look at that, he freezes them up. 2 kills now, Pan and G-Bunny each with 1. Mr. Hayes, though, they have some options here. The Evil Mojo's good. 2 here from Tulkey. They're going to run down the rest of the Knights. They won't need the time. They tie it up here 1-1. Really like seeing that Atlas ultimate.
I'll tell you, last 5 minutes, don't even care how that pip was doing. That was the ult that mattered.
That's all that mattered.
Admittedly, it kind of sucks that you have to use it to find the defense, but that was the ult that gives you a point, that keeps you like kind of stabilized in the game. And I think that's what Envy need. That's not only what they need in their sets, that's just what they need in general. They need to stabilize.
I agree.
It has been, I mean, a sinking ship, right? And it's that horror of you're watching it sink from afar. There's not really much you can do. And that's what I feel like, when watching them, it's just like, you guys are a world-class team.
They are.
But you have been just on a downward trend. The Knights are on an upward trend. And I think we're kind of seeing that in the way these fights have been going, the way map 1 went. So they need to switch it up. They need something that just keeps them in the mental game.
They'll want more of the same of what they just saw on defense. I mean, they had that was a really good defensive fight there from them. Some ultimates starting to get popped here, granting some vision. The convergence as well comes out. No kills just yet on the back end of it. This could be a big deciding factor as far as who ends up winning it. Rock Monkey is going to be the one to open up this fight with a kill here. G-Bunny's just hanging out. Makoa says get down here. He gets rewound though. G-Bunny's so low he's not able to rewind himself in time. Rubu's going to be the one to clean that one up. Now here's the Ancient Rage trying to run down Ricotta. He's had a rough game so far. The Ancient Rage is going to be enough to keep him alive. Shell spin his way out of there. Pittsburgh Knights now need to find some advantage to get on the front foot. Random Noob with a kill, and Rock Monkey as well on the back end. Envy could have this one sealed up.
So that was Random Noob starting to get a lot more out of it. Tulkey and Rubu kind of putting their names in the hat as well. But the big thing that kind of caught me off guard was the fact that the Knights, whether it be cockiness, what have you, kind of aggressed into that fight in a bad way. Like, I mean, you see Eevee go in for a bunch of 1v1s. Like, yeah, you're a flank, but why are you getting this aggressive, right? Like, you almost go too aggressive there if you're playing that. And then the same thing comes for G-Bunny. You watch your Eevee die, and then you just kind of stumble into a fight against Makoa with his ult.
Not work out in their favor, needless to say here. Now Envy gets to try their hand at some offense yet again. Ricotta had a bit of a rough start to this game, been focused down pretty heavily by the rest of Envy. He's able to find a kill here for himself. This is where some of these matchups, these character matchups will come into play as you round the corner. There's the Evil Mojo that's going to come out. It's going to be good for a couple kills here. That'll buy them a little bit of space. Ricotta's, though, he's kind of out of position right here. He's going very low. He's able to keep himself topped off with the help of Saris. Tulkey, though, he's going to be the one to drop that kill. Rock Monkey now on the front foot. Now Envy can get themselves in a position up high where they can kind of start to rain down some damage onto the Knights in the backline.
Shots are good right now from Rock Monkey being able to connect. And that's like that perfect angle where, unfortunately, if you're Atlas, you're just a little too tall. So those crossbows are going to continue hitting you.
That's his counter, being too tall.
Being too tall, that's the way to take him down. But now, I mean, the shots are good, but the damage just isn't lasting.
The convergence also comes up a little bit wide. A minute, so they have plenty of time here. They have a few good tries at this one. 1 minute and 13 seconds left to potentially push it through. Envy just need to find some picks. Unfortunately, Tulkey's going very low here. He is going to be the one to fall.
I mean, you had mentioned a minute, and on any other map, I'd say a minute. It's a long amount of time, but I mean, a good chunk of that would be spent if anyone else falls. It's been coming back, but they're going to be able to get 2 kills right there. They're going to have some healing still, so even though you lose Tulkey, you still keep the aggression up.
This is where the foot needs to be on the gas. You found some kills. Now take advantage of it. They're getting some damage down, but Ricotta flips it back around. Rubu instead is going to be the one to fall here. Random Noob's trying to keep the aggression, but he walks around the corner into a Leon, into an Eevee, and he's headed back to base. 30 seconds left here. Maybe only one more chance with how long it takes to get back to the payload, but the Knights score. They have such a strong advantage here. They're way up high. It's going to be tough for Envy to break this one.
I mean, just trying to dance around the objective at this point. Figure out how to get back in time without taking too much damage from what is going to be, I mean, right now, G-Bunny as well as Payan dancing around on the top. Looks like Rubu and Tulkey are in position to be able to get there. Nice teleporter usage going to be able to come up. And then another Evil Mojo, but no big follow-up. In fact, Rubu is the one who goes down.
The Evil Mojo actually does not find any kills. That'll likely spell the last of this offensive push. A snipe there from G-Bunny. The Atlas is coming alive here, too. Almost 3 for him. The Pittsburgh Knights have found the defense. They find point number 3. It's really similar to what we just saw on Jaguar Falls. Excuse me. Oh, no. Envy was in the lead there. I thought it was the opposite way around. 2-2 though here on Timber Mill. Envy have shown a little bit more life than they did in game number 1. Still have a few things to figure out. Do you say Atlas? I mean, Atlas was the big kind of thing they needed to figure out from game number 1. Still more the same, you think, here, game number 2? I mean, he's 4, 6, and 8, so maybe not.
They're keeping him locked down pretty well. I honestly think it's just the combination that's coming through from the Knights right now. First off, Dethroner undying throughout this game. But Rakata's damage is still up there. He's 4, 7, and 7, but he's doing almost 20,000 more than you're seeing out of Rock Monkey, which is an incredible feat. Again, Leon and Cassie are always going to be the 4 front runners, but to have it be that big of a gap means Rakata's hitting some nasty shots.
He is.
And I think it comes down to this round is going to come down to, do the Knights make the same early round mistake? Like, do they just kind of run to their doom, or do they kind of do the same dance they did in the first round?
That's the big question mark here. At the moment, the Throner's the only one getting really aggressive. The Dome Shield's going to buy him a little bit of space. He is half health inside of that, though, and Toki is pretty alive. He could trade out. The Throner goes low. The Bowling Ball's going to keep him alive. There's a Stasis Shield to save him a little bit. Eevee's going low, though. The Ice Block's going to keep them alive, but here come the kills. Now there's 2 on the board, Rubu and Rock Monkey, each with 1 here for Envy. The Knights, low health bars on their side. If they push on the gas pedal here, Envy could find point number 3. Looks like they're just going to back off. That wasn't Gore. That was almost like not a super aggressive fight. That was just kind of a disjointed, they were kind of poking at each other, and Envy just found the picks.
And honestly, what it comes down to is the fact that Envy get rid of probably the 2 that you need to, right? They get rid of Eevee, they get rid of Leon. Who are you going to fight with? Yeah, you can go through. You get the Exiles right here. So you're going to be able to kind of keep yourself in this game. But you have to find some kills. Rubu's a good start, but you got to displace the damage dealers if you want to stay alive.
Unfortunately, it's tank for tank in this case, but Pip does fall. There's another damage dealer. Payne's going to be the one to find that one. Mr. Hazo answers back with 1 onto Payne. It's just going to come down to which team finds the kills here. Rock Monkey with a couple. Looking for 3 here. He's able to find it. Rock Monkey comes alive right at the right time. And Envy now on the front foot with a 3-2 lead.
I guess I need to take back what I said about you can't just rely on Rock Monkey to win the game for you. Because, I mean, that's if he doesn't, he kills 2 people at the end there. They see him coming. They recognize that is going to happen. Rakata had Enlightenment as well. May have been able to hit it just in time to be able to stay alive, maybe turn that on his head. But Rock Monkey plays that, I think, in a way that literally only Rock Monkey could do.
Well, that's the Rock Monkey factor. I mean, you can talk about picks and bans, you can talk about, you know, the map, this and that, but at the end of the day, you have a guy like Rock Monkey who's going to come alive at the right time. Can't play against that no matter how easy it might look. That's a good Ice Storm. It's right into an Evil Mojo, though. Random Noob is good for 2 on that one. Rakata finds 1 in this fight. That's an even wash, 2 for 2. An Ice Storm for an Evil Mojo, though. Enlightenment's still around, as well as the Dread Serpent. This is where we saw the payload get stalled out last time. What sort of went wrong in your eyes for Envy on their last offensive push?
Nothing that I can explain outside of just the way Timber Mill is built. That is, honestly, it's just very difficult when you look at the way this is laid out. High ground is all in favor of the Knights right now. Like, you have to win a fight and then some to be able to gain that control. And even before, I think Envy were dancing up there, but it wasn't a key fight. It was an Evil Mojo that didn't get any kills, and then an immediate return kill onto Rubu, which started almost exactly like this. He jumps up here, he goes for the fight, he gets rewound, but G-Money actually sends him to safety.
I was going to say.
And then Rubu comes right back through the teleporter.
And there's the Ancient Rage. The rewind might not have been in their favor in this case. The Ancient Rage is good for 1 onto Rakata. They could find the kills here. This one could end up going through if Envy are able to keep it up. That's a good rewind. Sends the Pip back, though, but Rock Monkey's now rampaging. A double kill now onto Dethroner. Could make it triple yet again. He's not going to have the time because Envy are going to find the win. And they needed that one, Gore.
It came down to, I think, 2 things. One, Random Noob slowly ramped it up throughout that game, right? Those Evil Mojos hit harder and harder and harder as the game went on. And then I guess I'm going to use your term for it, the Rock Monkey factor. There is no chance you can plan against all of a sudden him being in the driver's seat. Like, he just controlled the last 2 points of that game.
He did. We're not going to have a 4-0 here in set number 2. Envy winning game number 2. Send it back down to Evan and Nick.
Well, Rock Monkey made the play we all were waiting for him to make. He's staring through the brows, and he had that triple kill to secure the last point and then the momentum kept on rolling. It's 1-1 here in this set, so it is not going to be another 4-0.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get going on those Timbermill offenses, it's one of the best offenses to convert on, I feel, especially once you get going. You take that high ground, and this is like the pocket pick for Team Envy. This is their guaranteed map pick for the set. Now we're going into loser's pick, so the Knights will drive it from here on out. That was definitely a bit of a war. It was not convincing for Envy.
It wasn't convincing in any regard. It looked good. I mean, G-Bunny clearly happy for the Atlas. First couple of points were really well fought, I thought, by Pittsburgh. Good patience. Ricotta seemed like his aim was locked in on the Leon, hitting some incredible combinations of shots. But it's the play we were talking about. Drops down. And truly, while Saris is healing Ricotta, 1v1s him with that much burst and then kills Mr. Hayes as well. There's another play that went down, Nick, up on the high ground where, a little contentious. A rewind that sent Rubu back down at about half health, but he was able to kind of avoid any damage, come back up in an Ancient Rage. Wonder if that had any impact on the final course of the game.
That's a good one for Envy to get, though. They were looking pretty down after game number 1. If you come in and you lose both of the initial map picks, things are not looking good for you. So back in the driver's seat, Knights will hopefully show us something here. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see a little Shattered Desert maybe coming up next. We know the Knights have really started to kind of like this map.
Yeah.
Could be interesting to see how it plays out with how open it is and how clumped people are. I would really love to see an Amani on that map.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a potential to see that map be, more and more a staple for a lot of these teams, and it does provide a nice little fresh viewing experience for us. But I think it also can have some interesting implications on the potential of, like you said, Amani, but also Atlas. I feel like there's a lot of that's the map he came out with. That just feels very...
It's like a pip on Brightmarsh.
Very him, he gets that home court advantage. Well, 5% extra damage.
Lord knows he doesn't really need it.
No, he doesn't. Plenty of damage from that Chrono Cannon, though, if anyone was wondering.
Inspecting the mouse there, Ricotta aims on point. No excuses on the gear. New sponsor, the Smile Direct Club for the Knights as well. Looking good.
Well, it's up to this set now to become a best of 5. Essentially 2 games, all null and void. It's squared away after that. 4-1, 4-2. Only, picking at hairs if you're trying to separate that. Both teams having a very strong success in the moments where they were succeeding, but contentious in between all of that. Knights with another ban and, again, going for the pip.
Might be that same Jaguar Falls strategy that they went after Random New Bomb, but I like the Zin on Ice Mines. That's the thing, where if Envy have learned from that Game 1 loss, I mean, it's the Knights looking like they're trying to do the exact same thing. I don't see how Envy get kind of destroyed by this 2 times in one set.
Yeah, and the Makoa going to be banned out as well.
Don't worry, subjects.
Nice look for
After
Rubu.
a few good lashes, you'll all
Same
see
exact
it
thing,
my
Nick, you're right.
way.
Bomb King picked up, and Drogos and Pip banned, and the Atlas this time not given to them in the second phase. And we're going to scoop that up quickly and take the con, take a little out of NIP's book.
The big boys.
A little eye twitch from Cuskcutie there, saying, "What?
Nani? I like this. I'm with it for Team Envy. A lot of aggressive front line here to make some space and to slow down the Bomb King. We saw how even on Frozen Guard with the Torvald behind him, with the momentum generated from Atlas Khan, FRZ God could do nothing to slow down NIP's approach. And this is shaping up to be a pretty similar draft the Knights are getting to what SSG had and were defeated by on Frozen Guard. Granted, a very different map here is Ice Mines, but I think one that's even better for Atlas.
Seriously, exact same lineup, except instead of the Atlas in the Genos spot, it's obviously the Genos. Envy now with the Moldava. No need to prioritize it this early, but you would do it so that you could save a DPS pick to flex towards the end, and maybe just round out your draft. There's the Amani as well, so this is looking very similar to the Frozen Guard draft we saw from NIP. Nearly identical.
And kind of for almost different reasons. On this map, you are so clumped up, forced to be in like 2 spots. You're either hidden around the corner or you're up in the rafters, shooting down on the objective. 2 places Amani is going to crush you. And being able to, I like to like fly that dragon through the little ski lodge, you know what I mean? Like you can, as soon as you get in the door, you fly up above all the other lines of sights of the doors, and you come back down and go out. Like basically cover your approach is what I'm getting at here. And I expect there to be some dragon damage coming out this is it. Atlas and Amani for Team Envy. Rubu and Random Noob, they need to take over the game and put Envy back on the map.
I feel like Envy already have enough, actually. And then it's just like, oh, you're going to add a dredge as well. I mean, this is a spicy, spicy, spicy draft. Muy caliente for Envy. Knights here with the Ash Barrack.
I'm excited.
Bomb King Cassie Genos, a little more standard. But I could tell, maybe didn't expect the Atlas and Imani to come through. We'll see if Envy can make it work, though.
Yeah, I'm super excited for this one, for sure. This is going to be a lot of fun. They have the Kraken and the Dragon, two, like, nutty
Huge
zoning
monsters.
So you can't stand on the point when those two are going to be loose in it. It could be a really good setup from Atlas as well. You know,
Yeah.
exile someone as soon as you know they're coming out of it. Just Kraken is exploding.
Boom. That's super true. What about, you know, Game of Thrones, they already have dragons, but what about Krakens, you know? A little,
Yeah, Game of Thrones does nothing on Paladins. I see where you were going
We're
with that.
definitely ahead of it here. And we have some more monsters. We just need like Godzilla, some champion to just bring out Godzilla soon.
That's going to be fun, man. So much to kind of look at. And not only have they really gone off the beaten path here with Atlas and Imani, they're going to show us that not only NIP know how to run that, but I cannot wait for this dredge. Mutu running the Hurl, but we expect maybe Scuttle here. So much setup potential here for that character. There's so much blasting, so much zoning. Nowhere you're really, it feels like, safe to be. Splitting ice is going around these corners, lines of sights. Frost bombs are coming around. You're looking at just being able to throw down a phase barrier there and just be safe. You know, take some corners, take some angles that you wouldn't otherwise feel good taking. Throw it up on the enemy's high ground, and you literally contest them for free.
Well, I think what also, you know, Frost Bomb can do is, I believe it's about 0.6 or 0.8 in general for a root, and you can get an extra second on it, so it can be about 1.6, 1.8. But that is well enough time to get a lot of the ultimates and paladins off. You know, for just comparison, through time and space, it takes 1.2 seconds to activate from when you press it, and then the damage is done. So there's a lot of things. You know, Kraken, yeah, could be maybe played into that. I'm excited to see how these exiles as well set
Dude, they
things
gotta
up.
hit a Kraken off that.
It feels like there's just, it would
That's
be.
it. That's the dream.
But you know what's so interesting about the Kraken is even then,
You can even do it off a Frost Bomb.
you know, it's 3,000 damage. You might not kill people. I mean, you got to hit a damage character, and they're usually a little more wiggly. But I agree.
The Frost Bomb cripple, though?
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
there's plays to be made here.
hurl slow into a Frost Bomb cripple into a Kraken to follow up, and a Imani and Dredge high five in the air.
People definitely sleep on that Harpoon slow. It is nasty.
Well, let's send it down for Ice Mines as we go for the game that could put one of these teams in the lead in the set.
Headed down to an icy map, which is a good thing because the spice is coming out on the side of Envy here. You got the Atlas, you got the Imani.
Yeah.
But the real spice, we were going from banana pepper to pickled jalapeno here. That's because the dredge rears his head yet again. I like him on this map. We saw NIP playing on this map. It looked really good when they did it.
Yeah.
Now you get Rubu on the Atlas for the first time in this one. Taking a peek here at the dredge cards.
Nothing too out of the ordinary.
Nope.
Dark Bargain at 5 is probably the one that kind of catches you out maybe the most, but it's just, you're going to be able to heal. Dredge has kind of had a couple of cards change recently, which made his playstyle a little different, but he's still solid on Ice Mines, and he's going to be able to kind of help keep himself alive through all of that as long as he stands by one of those little squiggly scraggles right next to you as teleporters as they come through. The Rift Sea opens.
I mean,
and
look
of course,
at that.
the damage is so good.
He's getting 0 healing from the Genos, and he's back up to full health through that entire engagement thanks to those cards. We also get to see Rock Monkey on the Imani. That's a pretty big treat here for us. Take a look at her cards as well. Pyretic Momentum 5, as well as Ancient Duty. Rubu's going to be the one to find the first kill here. Looks like a second's on its way here for Envy. The shoulder bash is going to be good for some distance, but not good for any healing in this case. He's going to get forward, get aggressive here. Toki drops G-Bunny. And Envy, despite going behind early in point number 1, they now find themselves with a team fight win and 45% in climbing on the payload. Ooh, nearly.
Actually not going to connect with everyone that it looks like it could have. But then you just kind of corral them into the rest of your team. Like, that's the thing that comes through. Envy, this
that's already
is
a
like
Kraken.
one of the best Ice Mine drafts I think I've seen in a long time.
I agree.
Like, it just, this is almost just their game to lose. The fact that they lose Dredge there, though, might be a big play over for the Knights. Depends on if they can handle this Alice. And right now, Rubu is giving them the Diggy Dog treatment right now.
He's giving them the double kill, potentially a triple. Rock Monkey takes it. Ricotta goes back to base. Team Envy find themselves up 1-0 early on. I agree with you, Gore. This draft is awesome, I think, for Ice Mines. It's a really, really good Ice Mines draft. The damage still in favor of the Knights at the moment. But you know, it's not about the damage. It's about the kills and about the objective. And in that case, Envy are the ones in the lead.
I mean, just being able to dance like this, there's so many high priority targets on Envy that it's kind of difficult to figure out who do we want to go for right after this. Fortunately, right there, you see kind of locked down Rubu, not able to find all the banishments that he wants, loses his life. And so Rock Monkey's like, well, you know what? We'll make that worthwhile for you, buddy. Here's 2, here's 3 now as Sulky picks up another. And then a Frost Bomb to the back line, just kind of to scare him off, honestly. But then you have to look at the cooldown. That's the balancing point. It's a great ability. It's going to take you 20 full seconds to get it back to having a use, but luckily you're on Ice Mines.
Yep.
You've got plenty of time to play with.
You'd think Amani would be even better on Ice Mines since it's an ice map, you would think. But
That's actually,
I don't think it's how it works.
when her talent, like that extra shard of ice comes from the walls on the map, she actually just shoots those.
Oh, there you go.
Probably not.
Just sending icicles from the... Soon enough, there's not going to be any ice left because
she's melting the ice caps.
She's throwing them all pan. I was going to send a random noob back to base as well.
Global warming. It's real.
Now on the no, I was going to try. There's no saving it. There's no opposite side. I thought maybe the sun would somehow save it, but
no, the sun makes it worse.
The sun makes it worse,
I
right?
guess.
Amani. No, we need to ban Amani. She's making.
The sun's not the problem. The champions are.
Cuss
Stop
Cutie
this
finds
needless
2.
war.
Cuss Cutie with a couple here in this case. Envy got 40 seconds left, but they need to fight their way back to the payload first. Pretty big wall to break down. Rock Monkey favoring the ice stance as well. I don't think we've seen a fire heavy Amani yet today.
It's honestly, it's just not going to come through, I think, anywhere near as much. I think the fire stance Amani might be decent up against like a triple front line.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't think it's going to bring anything to the table that you're not getting already with the ice stance. Like, admittedly, the thing about the ice stance that makes it so good is like, well, you still have access to Inferno Cannon, but then you get the Frost Bomb up, you get the glide through, you have your health, your healing, whatever. But it's mainly just every shot you hit someone else. You're getting more damage per shot overall, whereas ice stance, or fire stance, sorry, long charge times for your shots.
Right.
The Inferno Cannon's great, but admittedly, especially with the cooldown between, you know, changing your stance, it's just not quite as worthwhile. Like, even when Bittner was playing it earlier, we really only saw it as like a last-ditch effort to get that burst.
Get a little extra damage, right. Rubu made the Atlas look great. First time we've been able to see him play on it. Found a double kill, almost a triple here, before Rock Monkey steals it away. 1-1 though, I think. I mean, Envy's lineup is so well built around this point fight, and they made it work so well in that first round. So I wasn't surprised to see maybe a little bit of regression from complete success there on the offensive push. Harder map to push on, of course, but they got 5 ultimates ready, or 4 and some change here. The Atlas ultimate almost ready as well. Here comes the crack, and Cuskitty's going to be the one to find a kill, though. There's so much going on in that corner right now. The Dome Shield as well as the Amani Dragon. That's almost the perfect place to use it. So much damage coming out from Amani in that case. She finds one and gets herself out alive. The Ashe ultimate came down, did not find the stun, though. G-Bunny now, though. He's able to get aggressive here onto the Dom, but the Slither's not going to be good. Right into the doorway. Down he goes in the back line. Rubu finds a kill as well. So a bit of a 1-for-1 here, but Envy are the ones that are on the point.
I mean, they play that perfectly. Rock specifically plays that amazingly, but you can't make up for the presence G-Bunny has right now. I mean, he's just getting aggressive. He takes out your healer.
Ooh.
No one was looking at him. He comes in, he finds another kill. Now he's on a 3rd in a row right now, locking down Envy. And that just comes down to no one paying enough attention, no one giving him the credence, looking instead for a different fight. And because of that, Knights are in control as of right now.
Random Noob's had a bit of a tough game here on the Dredge up to this point. Some good Krakens. I mean, started off great last time. The Overpower looks like it's not going to connect either. I think it's the second one that Tolki's tried to throw out that didn't connect here. Random Noob finds a kill for himself. Rock Monkey, though, goes down in a little bit of a trade back and forth here. Ricotta's on the back line right now, but they're privy to it. Random Noob could push this and find the kill. He's got to be careful, though. That's a lot of damage coming out of the Cassie. He's going to lose this 1v1. Gets himself back out through the teleporter, but right into an Atlas. Mr. Hayes. Oh, they're on the same team, so I guess it didn't matter. Mr. Hayes is the one who ends up cleaning up Ricotta here. They have overtime ticking away in their favor. Down comes the banner for the second time in this fight. G-Bunny looking to take things into his own hands. He's face tanking 2 members of Envy, though. Cutie drops Rubu. This could go in the Knight's favor, Gore.
Yeah, but Envy, 99%, they get to play around with the point. They could leave it for a second if they truly need to. There's going to be a Kraken to buy him some space. Dethroner jumps right into it. That 4K damage is going to hurt, but the overtime timer goes down as they did get rid of Tolkien, and they've kind of reopened the door for the Knights to stand here.
G-Bunny keeps himself alive again. That's the second time in this opening sequence where we've seen G-Bunny get in, find some kills, and then get himself out without dying. That's a good ice bomb. No kills just yet. G-Bunny's going to be the one to fall. Cutie as well. Looks like Envy are going to be able to take this one through, and they do. So 2-1 there. They've shown yet again that they have a great point-fighting team. But now we need to see that team comp come together here on the offensive push. The Knights have done a great job up to this point. Kind of holding it down here. Random Noob with a couple. He started off. He had a bit of a rough game. I want to see where his slash lines are at now. He started this round 1-3, and he's 6-3 now. So he's found 5 kills since the beginning of this round, and he's not died. 7 streak here for Random Noob. So coming back in a big way. The payload is moving forward as a result.
I mean, and they're playing it well. In fact, just rolling back to the beginning of the round, when they used all of their ults, like you had said, there's so much that was going on. And the only reason that Dragon didn't find another kill and then another kill is because G-Bunny gets aggressive there, right? Right now, in my mind, Ricotta finding kills like that, but G-Bunny playing the point fights the way he has is what is keeping the Knights afloat. Otherwise, I think this Envy roster kind of rolls over them. And I think if you switch this Genos and the Moldamba, Envy have this game as a 4-0. I think that is genuinely like the small difference that is keeping them alive is the fact that they don't have that damage boost. So it's a little harder for Envy to completely roll over the Knights.
I agree with you in this case.
Not normally, though.
Not normally. No. Never. I never agree with you. No, a betting man would agree with you 90% of the time due to the Golden Globe that you have, or the sphere. What do they call those?
Crystal ball?
Crystal. Why am I blanking on the word crystal
the
ball?
Golden
That should
Globe.
be the
Well,
Golden
thank
Globe.
you for the award.
That's the award.
But,
I don't know why I'm blanking on the word crystal
know.
ball. It's like the
What I'm going
easiest.
to do with this one.
Well, you earned it.
I'll put it
Gore.
on the shelves
You
with
earned
the
it.
others.
You earned a Golden Globe for being a predictor.
Which one is that?
That is the TV.
I'll take it.
Maybe.
I
Actually, I have
being
no
a
idea.
TV star.
I have no idea.
I'll be the next iteration of Breaking Bad. In fact,
hope
best
not.
crossover ever.
That didn't-
Breaking Bad X Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Jon Snow makes meth.
You know, mark it down. If you're listening and you're a showrunner, you got your free idea right here from Gore. I don't think that's
Good
trademark.
luck
just
not
as of
getting
yet.
sued.
15 seconds left here in this round. Rubu's going to open things up with a kill, as well as Rock Monkey. That's the 1-2 punch. The Imani, the Atlas as well. Rubu finds his second in this fight. Now they're on the back foot. Random Noob can just artillery barrage from the backside here. Barrick is essentially stuck in the corner. He's going to have to poke his head out and try to find some damage. The Kraken's going to be good for a little bit of zoning here. You have the Ash. The shoulder bash is going to go onto the Atlas as well. But Dethroner's going to be the one to die here. Ash will be short to follow. Looks like Envy are going to be able to win this team fight and get this one pushed through. It's just a matter of time now.
I mean, the words you used are so appropriate. Artillery barrage. There's just so much damage landing around that payload that it's like, okay, you want to dance over here? Because like, it's not going to be comfortable. You're going to be.
It's had to sit in the corner.
To keep with dancing, you're going to be dancing on thorns. It's going to hurt. Long story short, Random Noob just laying down the damage there. Ends that round at 9-4 on the dredge.
That's a big bounce back from him. I mean, an 8-kill, 1-death round on the back of a 1-3 start to the game.
Look at this.
I think he needed that. Comes up in a big way. Envy are better off for it, of course. And now they're on game point here. And for the Knights, this is scary. I mean, you're going against arguably a better team fighting composition in game or map point here. And they have a lot of their ultimates ready. Atlas ult you can consider up, Dread Serpent as well as the Dragon, and the Overpower just came back online. I was going to say, we see Rock Monkey using the Dragon in these close quarters positions, and it is going to come out here yet again. He's able to get his way through and find some damage though, Gore.
I don't know if that connected. You can see the indicator down in the bottom right every now and then popping up, showing that Rock Monkey is taking damage. You can see his health bar is low. and he's going to be able to cancel it out. He pulls back right there because of it. I genuinely think that through time and space might have connected with him.
I think
it was the fact that he is running that loadout card at level 5, that 250 health, putting him, I believe, at 2450 right now.
You're right, that
lives
connected.
through that.
Yeah, they nearly took out Amani before even she was really able to get into the fight here. Instead, Envy are the ones who now have the zone going on the point, 54%. The Knights have some ultimates. The King Bomb, the Scout will give a little bit of vision. Not much of a team fight change, but the Kraken now is up on the opposite side. Here's the King Bomb, but he's not really going anywhere with it at the moment. He's not able to find any targets. Cuskew's trying to keep his teammates all topped off here, 84%. This could be the team fight that ends this game. There's a Kraken as well. The Dread Serpent sends one of them running. G-Bunny's the first one to fall here, but Rakata answers back, but it's Rock Monkey, the man coming up with 2 kills in this fight. Envy are looking to take it, make it a triple for the Amani. If he can make it 4, this one will be sealed. It might be anyway. Random Noob is going to do it, and Envy are going to take map number 2.
I mean, this is a good Ice Mines draft on Ice Mines. That's everything that you want it to be. They lock them down, and that is, I guess, the power of an Amani, of an Atlas, of a Dredge, all on one map. They make huge differences, and admittedly, it's nothing like too crazy, too out of the ordinary. Like, Rock Monkey actually has a Stellar Dragon, which is something we haven't gotten to see too much out of Amani today, but a lot of that was just them playing the game.
I agree, and Envy look really, really good right now. Take the lead 2-1 here in the series. Send it back up to the guys at the desk.
Thank you. Envy, they dominate in game number 2 towards the end and really pull away from Pittsburgh. Now, both maybe emotionally here and tactically in the series, as they are now 2 games away from closing it out.
Yeah, that was awesome to see. Finally, a little infinitely close marginal moment where Rock Monkey is able to zone away all 5, almost gets taken out according to the casters, but lives because of the 250 HP card that he picks up. Like, are you kidding me? This has been such an exciting game, such an exciting series to watch between these 2 teams, especially given that Knights were able to kind of strike first blow there in such a convincing fashion. We really figured out that we were going to be in for a war after we saw this way that Envy were able to bounce back.
And really just, great stuff from Pittsburgh as well to make this a contentious set. But Envy, they are really the ones who we would be more surprised on if they lost versus if they won this one. Really not a lot to gain for them. Definitely everything to gain for Pittsburgh as they are continuing to be on the upswing here as a team to be reckoned with. Testing their might. Rock Monkey a little bit too strong with the Amani play. Triple kill towards the end. Hunted down Cuskew's, who was hiding in the corner.
Just listening. I thought that was like a listening or something to their comms. I heard go, go, go. 4.4 KDA there. Quick shout out to Random Noob as well. Tons and tons of damage.
He did do a good job.
I think he was 10-4 or something like that. So
yeah,
very, very good kind of stealth performance from the young man himself. Hit a big Kraken.
Yes.
Not as a result of any of the setups or combos that I was hoping for, but we'll get there. Mark my words, chat. We will get there.
We'll get there.
One small step today.
Paying a little disheartened. Totally different Pittsburgh. I mean, we say it because we've seen it. The looks on Pittsburgh's faces after they win versus after they lose. I couldn't tell you a more different freaking looking team.
The happiest boys in the saddest
The happiest boys in this, and that's part of, competing, that you have to just learn how to do a little bit better, I think. A little moment for Pittsburgh to maybe look at this is that to not let the wins affect you so much, not let the losses affect you so much if you want to have a level of consistency to your performance, because ultimately that's what matters. If you can consistently win 4 games against someone, not if you can beat the best team one day and then lose to the worst. So right now Envy seem to have really found their rhythm. Pittsburgh going to have to win a big one now to come back.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a question I have as to what is the Pittsburgh morale, mentality going into the set. How are they treating Envy at this point? Are they looking at them as a team that is in a downspin, or are they looking at them as the former world champions that still need to be sort of dissected and broken down? And, given that we did get to do that little interview with Vapor and talk to him, they've got it all figured out for what Envy were doing. But when Envy brought out a completely fresh draft of Atlas, Amani, and Dredge on Ice Mines, the Knights look a little lost.
Tolkien smiling as well. Really, in my opinion, the heart of that team.
What a good boy.
Just a great guy. It's hard to be mad. He's it's our Gormizer, a guy just
pure of heart.
Pure of heart. The one who could lift the sword from the stone.
Yes.
And
Loki and Gore could definitely lift Mjolnir.
definitely. They have rights. Envy here. Same kind of ban phase, except this time it's the Eevee. So going for the Atlas first, Knights realize Envy did start to prioritize it after their 2 games. And now they're going to take it away with their first pick.
Well, still kind of attacking Noob in a way. I think there's just more champions to attack in that pool. I mean,
Absolutely.
Again, it's a rather shallow kiddie pool for the hit scan players these days. Not a lot of viability out there outside of the Cassie and Leon, both of which are open in this game. Ashe still remains open. Very, very curious with such a viable frontliner coming in. It's always a good conversation to watch those bans and watch the drafts. Those frontlines have such an impactful effect on the PPL drafts.
It was really the one that put it over to the point where now you can't ban Khan, Makoa, and Torvald, and Cat. And you just can't get it all, really. Especially if you're prioritizing Atlas and you care and like Imani to be valuable. Like, so
The spirit
at this point, man, it's like I think people. That's why these bans make a lot of sense for me, and I'm expecting we'll see more teams take an approach like this, where you're just leaving a few threats on the table. You're gonna get your pick of the litter.
Don't worry,
it's gonna be about how do you
After
min-max
a few
that.
good lashes, you'll all see it my way.
Very standard old school lineup here for Envy. Nothing new coming out. Not both their damage picks locked in just yet. Now that Rock Monkey has showed us that he is keen to play the Imani, maybe that's something that they look to bring out for him, something that he can expand his champion pool a little bit with.
Yeah.
Leon is still open. No EVs to pester her either, so that could be something that he goes to, and that's what we would have expected in the past.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's got to be a Rock and Money here because Rock ain't playing Bomb King. And
I like splitting ice on Splitstone too.
I mean, it just works in a lot of different factors. In namesake, in play. Peek and poke, something that works well for the Knights. They're going to grab the Tyra, it looks like, here with the Inara to be the point tank. And Envy, will they swing forward with the Imani to maybe catapult themselves 3-1 in this series?
And with how far
You
back she's going to be
trespass
sitting,
and
not
are
having to worry
unwanted,
about a flank or
stranger.
anything. She's going to be a really impactful
Give them
character, I think,
hell.
for that reason. She's like Cassie, but with good cooldowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Big team fight cooldowns.
And it's really hard to talk about the impact and how big it is of the slow. I mean, the slow from the auto attacks is just extremely brutal. So there's a lot of matchups that doesn't matter the damage or who's hitting their shots, just the slow really contributes to the trade being favorable for Imani time and time again. Let alone the damage fall off, which on a map where you're shooting from afar really puts Cassie and characters like Imani in high positions because, you know, cross map, they're still hitting for 650.
Well, Imani or Leon, that's where our chips are here for Team Envy on their final pick.
Canessa. Just kidding.
Wouldn't be outlandish.
No, it wouldn't be. But I haven't seen him go for that. It'd be more likely to see what does he want? I mean, you're right. I think Imani's fine here, but what are they talking about?
I don't know. Shaolin is something that could be in the conversation
true.
as well.
Yep.
But we've only really seen those hit scan guys go to the Shaolin when it's been forced, when their hand has been forced. Nobody's like picking Shaolin over their top 2 picks. Wowee.
I feel like I really should have said that this was.
Shoot your shot, kid.
I should have shot my shot because I really had. I'm like, what could they be talking about?
I did not see this coming.
That's the
I'll
only
be
other
honest.
thing that Rock Monkey plays outside of all the other champs that we were just discussing. Didn't really see a reason for it though, because I'm like, into the Tyra? All right, we'll have to wait and see. Send it down to Dave and Gore and check in with them. How you guys feeling about this Andro?
I'm liking it. I think it's exciting. That wasn't one of the options. It wasn't one of the guesses. I don't know how they picked it. It was either Imani or Leon. So
Man, I'm just
going to
say anything that keeps me from having to go back to watch. Like, I had scrubbed from my brain until this exact picks and bans the fact that Rock Monkey played Bomb King a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I had a really cool question mark exclamation point on it, but that was the only thing good that came out of that set. I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
Like, that was pretty much all lean against them. So glad to see him playing something that I've seen him play before. This Androxus,
It's a treat.
it's gonna look good.
It's a treat. They're going to look to get this bread. I think we found that back on the other
did we
set as
find
well.
it?
I think the bread is back. I was watching the
We're not
update
gonna have to
show
send
and
the
the bread was back there. So glad to
I
have
was
it back.
on the set for that, and I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, it was chilling there in the little basket. I didn't catch which talent G Bunny was running. I just wanted to make sure. He's running Deja Vu. I was going to say, there's sort of two different ways I think you can kind of go with Atlas on this map. I like the Deja Vu because so much of that fighting happens sort of in that long corridor by the fidget spinner. There's a lot of potential for some mass rewinds depending on how you hit that. So I was interested to see if he was running Deja Vu. He is in this case. Gets the rewind on Bomb King, and it delivers him right onto his doorstep. What a play there. That shows you the AoE rewind and the power of it. Payan is going to be the one to find the first couple in this fight, but G-Bunny's the one who's setting him up on a silver platter at the moment. Look how deep he is, Gore, into the back line of Envy. They're all turned around, and in the meantime, the Knights are on the point.
Well, pulls himself back, heals up, stands in a gourd as well. So this is going to be a fight. Khan versus Atlas, the armor versus the armor. And it's going to be a nice rewind to kind of keep everyone locked down. But beautiful stun comes through. Rubu going to be able to get credit for the kill.
That's a great stun there. Nearly got out with his life. G-Bunny, the Atlas. That's going to be the answer that Envy needs to find. They've had a tough go of it to start off, but they get him now. That's going to be the big question. Do they have an answer for the Atlas? At the moment they do. They're on the point, 63% and climbing here for them. No ultimates up just yet, but the first round will be soon here. The Overpower is the first to make its appearance, as well as the Cassie ultimate. Now there's some fighting going on in this back quarter. You got to watch out. Some mass rewinds could be taking place here. There's through time and space. Not good for any kills. Going so low here is Rubu right around the corner. He could get caught out. The rewind delivers him again, but he doesn't get killed. Rock Monkey instead finds the first one onto Rakata. The Overpower delivers Cuss Cutie as well. Now it's down to the last three members of Pittsburgh, but they're following 1, 2, 3. Envy are going to win this team fight. And wow, what a team fight it was.
I like the prioritization they have for it. It's one of those things, you're playing a dangerous game up against this Atlas constantly. It is going to be difficult for you. But they make the call. Don't grab him. Grab the healer. Get rid of the guy that's keeping him alive a little longer than just these rewinds. And once you get rid of Cuss, it's so much easier to kill everyone off. There's going to be a Dread Serpent. They do get one kill out of it, and that's the other thing. Rock Monkey, right now, hasn't really been making the noise. He's not the one kind of making the huge splash for the team, even though it's the spicier pick for Envy. It's just he's working, doing whatever he can. I expect this to look very similar to what we saw earlier, where it's a very slow burn, right? It starts out, and it's like, cool, you're all right now. And then later he's going to get a triple kill that changes the game.
Come out of nowhere. The seismic crash is going to weave its way in there onto Rubu, but he's alive though at the moment. The commander's grab is going to toss the Fernando up over his head. There's no Fernando in this game. Who was that? I'm confused. I don't know who I just saw. Oh, it was G-Bunny, the Atlas. Like, wait, what the heck did I just see?
Who am I looking at here?
It looked like the torch on Fernando, but it was just G-Bunny. The guns are the same silhouette, so my initial reaction was incorrect, but Envy now are on the front foot here. The stasis field's going to buy some space. There could be a King Bomb potentially. He is so low, though. He has to be careful. He's going to get rewind. Just loses a little health for his troubles, but Tulki is going to catch the butt end of that one. He's going to get cleaned up here. The Knights look like they have defense figured out at the moment, Gore. What do you think Envy needs to look for to break this shell?
Honestly, a pick onto Atlas, or I guess Payan works either. Really just one pick is all you need. They get the one there. They actually draw out G-Bunny in the process. They can kill him off for going so aggressive. They'd be good, but he is, like you said, going to be able to rewind. They get rid of Rakata, though. Now they're able to push a little harder into the Throner.
The Throner looks like he's going to be the next to fall here in this fight. Some of the respawns are starting to come out. Only Tyra and Inara are the two that are dead right now. The Dread Serpent up for the second time here on this defense. Finds some fears, but no kills just as of yet. Rock Monkey finds one, as well as Mr. Hayes. The Knights are down to 3 defenders right now, and Nara comes back. There's a rewind as well. That's so close to going through. The Dome Shield is going to keep Barrick alive at the moment. Tulki and Rock Monkey combining for a couple. Rubu gets in on the action as well. Reversal just for good measure. And in Envy, I mean, they slow played that one. That was a slow burn, not necessarily the Rock Monkey slow burn, but the defense slow burn. They let it draw out. They found the overpower onto Rakata, and that's all the space they needed.
And it is these moments where you come around. So that first pick onto Rakata immediately turns into a pick onto Cuss, which makes it a lot easier to go in and find another kill. That is going to go credit to the team.
Yeah.
Rock Monkey got a lot of the last hits. And I think he started the roll with everything, being able to kind of get rid of Tyra first. But without the ult coming through, without the overpower from Ruber, without everyone else kind of looking at him, it makes it a little bit more difficult. Right now, Mr. Hayes 1-0-12, making sure he is getting all these eliminations. Those Luminary boosts are going to be deadly. And now with definitely the credit advantage overall, the economy booming for Envy here means that they're going to have a little bit more kind of versatility to play with in this round.
And they have some big ultimates. The overpower almost back up. You imagine that'll be kind of midway through this fight. Here's the accursed arm. It's going in on a Ricotta. The last shot's going to be good. Rock Monkey not missing a single shot. He opens up this fight as well as Random Noob getting one. That's 2 so far for the Androxus, and he's getting aggressive in onto the Inara. The stun's going to come out, but it's not going to matter. Envy win the fight, and they're on the point. And you said it, Rock Monkey did not miss a single shot in that engagement, showing why he's so dangerous on this champion.
I mean, when he's locked in, he's locked in. He is deadly. And that's the thing that teams last year were having trouble accounting for. How do you deal with the idea that this guy's just going to shoot better than you almost all the time?
That's the Rock Monkey factor.
Insane to deal with. And I mean, there's so many teams. You run Androxus here, and that might be your death sentence. But right now, Envy are making it look incredible.
It's the Rock Monkey factor, Gore. I coined it. What's today? May 2nd.
2019.
The Rock Monkey effect, or factor, one of the two. They're both trademarks. Don't use them.
Both trademarks.
Don't try to use them and gain money, I guess is what trademark means here. Some rewinds coming out. The Knights are really grouped up here around the corner. A good through time and space could loosen up this defense well here for Envy. At the moment, that's not going to happen. They're going to send out the scout. Toki's going to fall, unfortunately, for Envy here. Buys a little bit of time for the Knights. The Atlas, how's the Atlas looked for you in this game? I mean, G-Bunny hasn't made the huge plays like he did in game number 1, but it hasn't looked horrible necessarily.
Honestly, I think he's right. This is exactly where I think most people were kind of expecting Atlas maybe. Like, again, when you put him in the right hands in the right scenarios, he's going to look incredibly strong. But that's true of pretty much any champion.
Right.
When you put him in this kind of area, you know, where it's tough going, but you still have a good player on him, it's exactly what you expect, right? He's getting a couple kills, he's making a few plays, but admittedly getting locked down a lot by Envy. They figured out a good way to deal with him, very similar to what NIP did to SSG earlier. And once you have that, once you know, not necessarily the weakness, but how to kind of play around it, it makes it a lot easier for you to do the dance.
Well, Envy's throwing everything at the wall right now. They want to end it right now. All the ultimates starting to come out. They find 3, they find 4, and they're going to find the 4-0. Envy looking convincing. Those are some smiles on their faces. That's the convincing Envy I don't think we've seen in a little while, Gore.
That's exactly what I want to look at. This is the Envy I've been missing for a couple weeks, right? They are turned on. They are locked in. Everything they have is going their way. Unfortunately for the Knights, that means it's going to be a little bit more difficult to lock this through.
Backs against the wall. Envy 1 game away from taking our second set. Send it back to Evan and Nick.
So Pittsburgh right now are in a very dangerous position. Everyone watching Pittsburgh might look back at this moment and get very mad at them, because this could be like that fight before the final boss fight that like awakens the hero to his actual powers, because it feels like they are at this point kind of starting to be like, yeah, wait, this is how good we are. Wait, yeah, this is how we play. Yeah, this is you're right. Yeah, and then they just, you know, they go to that next level. It feels like Pittsburgh have kind of helped them get there.
This is awesome. Yeah, maybe you know, a little bit of a bounce back. Andro was awesome. I thought it was phenomenal.
Pheno.
They were able. Was that Gore? Did you hear that?
Hello?
I hear them laughing now. The voices in our heads are real.
Well, what's happening?
Oh, my goodness gracious.
Oh, no. Well, in between our attack here,
what a bunch of hooligans.
Our spiritual attack, we're going to talk about Street Style, the new cosmetics in Paladins, which you've probably been seeing throughout the game. And if you have opened up your game, you have definitely been being directed to. It's because they're awesome, and the game wants you to get them. So buy them.
Boom. Wicked plug there. Ash is the only one that's kind of made it in from that bundle so far.
Yeah,
it's the
but
only one I've seen.
You're right. Maeve, not really. Maybe it's just banned.
She got picked. I don't think they used that
I don't
skin,
know.
but Maeve's got a lot of good ones. It's definitely hard to switch off. Here's the post-game stats.
Are we just going to avoid the fact that we were getting attacked?
Viciously.
That could have been, I mean, who says that anyone really did that? That could have been paranormal activity. We could be being haunted right now. Not even production knows what happened.
Well, 75K for Random Noob's Bomb King. But at about 20,000 damage less, Rock Monkey goes 13-3 with the Andro. And with just 0 vertical mobility for this Knights composition, Rock Monkey really had control of the skies. Nobody could chase him down if he got low HP. It was all about him flying around and shooting people from above.
You know, Rubu on this con did a great job dealing with G Bunny's Atlas. This is the one time we've seen the Atlas go, I believe, the way of Pittsburgh and not get that very, at least, high contest game. This was a 4-0, and I think they won 2 points on the Timber Mill, and then they won their first game. So Atlas worked really well for G Bunny, but this time, no. It was really all Envy. And that's the thing. Look, now they're smiling. Now they're happy. It really does feel like they might have unlocked the source code here.
Yeah. And that's always good to see them laughing again and having a good time, believing in themselves. That's been such a big part, I think, of bouncing back for Envy. Is, you know, we talked to Meta back in their little mini doc series that we did, how hard they take losses and how hard they had to take so many losses in a row against teams that they should have been stomping out of the building.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, you have to take punches. I mean, if you become a boxer, you have to know you're going to give huge punches, but you have to take punches as well. And I think you only, you know, the real thing is when you figure out what you are bad at, it's a great opportunity to realize, like, now this is what I need to address to become better. You know, if you never have that moment to figure out what you really don't excel at, what really hurts you, it really maybe brings you down when there's another team at a high level, you know, sometimes you never do it, and then it comes out at the worst time. So Envy, at this point, have had their most down, I think. Getting a win here, losing game 1, I mean, a little adversity, starting to get their rhythm. I feel like this is all a really great start for them to pick it back up.
Getting hot at the right time is a pretty important thing, I think, in sports, too. So better maybe now than at the MSI to have that slump.
For sure. And, you know, again, we got to talk about the Knights, too. I mean, in their same vein, these are two teams that maybe take losses too hard, maybe take wins, like, not too well, but, I mean, put a little bit too much in terms of a win. You got 3 more games you got to beat against, you know, put some respect on their name, the current world champions defending. So to get so excited to hop up after game 1, there's a lot more business to be done. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, jumping up after, like, your first, like, email to, like, a potential contract that you might get in a sales position. It's like, bro, you got to talk to them. You got to get them to say yes. Then they got to sign. That's the big one. So a lot to be done as we get ready for game 5 in a few seconds coming up. It is Envy able to close it out if they get a win here. We're going to see where they go, especially because now, you know, Atlas has been corrected and the maps are slimming down.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of kind of like almost more standard-y vanilla map bans in this set, so like going towards some weirder picks might be something that the boys like to go to. I know Shattered Desert was in the pool. I don't know if that's going to just become the ace in the hole, but this is the time to pull it out if they feel the need to. Still a lot of discussion happening down there in the Pittsburgh box.
Yep.
So it's clear the path that they feel they need to take to move forward. But the Andro caught me completely off guard. There was, again, nobody to really hunt it down, and Rock just had that X-Factor performance on Splitstone.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a specific player. It's a player-dependent champion because if you don't do the right things, it's not going to win by itself. It really needs you to drive it every step of the way. There's no form of autopilot. There's no cruise control on that Android. You have to be absolutely ready.
EV plus.
Yeah, exactly. And Knights here, because it's autos, you can't sit back and just shoot autos, really. I mean, they're not even close to the same level of impact.
You could. You'll just do 200 damage.
Exactly. Envy here with a Torvald ban to start out. We know they like the Torvald Makoa. Knights have been mixing it up by banning the blasters. That last time they gave the BK up. This time they're going to ban the EV.
Well, that's just really where their focus has been today. It's all on these blasters. They don't want to let Random Noob get comfortable, and he had the Bomb King. It was good. It did a ton of damage. Slash line was positive, but, you know, that was such a convincing win from Envy. How could it not be? But really having that follow-up there from Rock was sort of, and it's funny because those are both, like, technically flankers, and Random Noob kind of does play him like the flank, but if Rock can get flexible, and that was our big thing going into today, is like, Rock Monkey needs to expand the pool of champions that he feels comfortable carrying a game
Don't
with.
worry, subjects. After a few good
Bomb King
lashes,
here
you'll all see
in a
it
great
my
spot
way.
for the Knights. And if you see a Damba,
Our only path
it'll be a Genos. Okay, so a lot of damage here. we'll get to see a Genos and a Atlas. That kind of damage amp is pretty dangerous on the Chrono Cannon. That thing already hurts.
Against the poor little Barrack.
Against
He's
a
going to
poor
get
little
two-shot.
Yeah, he does have a big old head as well to get two-shot. Khan, though, really filling in the small head role quite well so that he can even out what Barrack has.
Dang.
Yeah.
He's basically just eyes.
Yeah.
I guess that's
He's
effective.
eyes and forehead.
Fernando's kind of that way too, so that's, I guess, effectively how you build a good set of armor here. Amani comes through.
That Beyonce look, man. Look at that.
I like it. She's fierce.
She's absolutely fierce right now. And
I can't wait to see all the skins Amani gets, like, basically just because I want to see the dragon reskinned.
That's true. Gonna be a great opportunity to do that. A lot of work, though, I would imagine.
Probably a lot of work. But our dev team is up to the task.
They're up to the task.
Because they're nuts. I mean, the skins have just kind of been... It was that patch... what was the... It was the one when that What is that Shaolin skin called?
Wow, hello,
where he's, like, younger and more gruff.
Form up and
That was
follow me
the
in.
patch where, like, skins just started to really pop off.
You're right, actually. I do remember kind of what you're talking about.
I can't remember what the theme of...
I do remember what you're talking
Was
about.
that? No, that wasn't the patch before Atlas. Outlaw Shaolin. That's the name of it.
I'm just forgetting what it looks like, though. But I know what you're talking about. I know the sentiment.
The bow is so sick. The bow is my favorite part of that one. Maeve being hovered here could potentially have that new street style skin on that. The Knight's getting a little bit spicy with it as well. Picking up the Andro, seeing what they can do with it. And Stonekeep is not a map foreign to Andro in times past. We haven't really seen it at all this season. But that could be more of a factor of just not seeing Andro. His maps are still his maps, and it's just that not a lot of teams are comfortable picking him up. And be definitely taking their time with this last selection, though. It could be what they want to go for. You could pounce through the temporal divide
yeah,
if you
you
wanted
can,
to.
Definitely.
Smack that Atlas up.
Yeah.
Welcome
Smack
to
that
the
Atlas.
Mean Streets,
That's a
kitten.
good one. That's a good one. Well, we'll see if they can make it work as well. I mean,
A pun to rival smack that Ash.
a pun to rival smack that Ash. I mean, Maeve has a strong choice here. Do you smack that Atlas or do you smack that Ash?
Oh God, Evan, don't ask me that. I'm but a humble man. I cannot answer
know.
the questions of the universe here.
I don't know. Well, we're gonna leave that one to Maeve.
Leave it to the world champs.
Leave it to the world champs. They'll tell you who. At this point, they're all ready to just get back in. I know that they're upset that they've lost a few games on the side of Pittsburgh. Envy, so close to relief, to winning a set again. You can almost feel it. It's in the air. It's going to be a hard one for me to bet against them. I did have them winning this set today, and I still have them winning now. Nick, do you think it's going to be over, or do we go into one more game after this?
I think Envy have the momentum right now. They closing it.
All right, well, let's send it down to the boys for Stone Keep to maybe close out the set. Envy one game away from getting that win they've needed.
Almost there. Looking for 2 wins in a row here. Last time we saw Envy, they had just beaten Renegades, I think. So looking to take it now over the Knights. They get the Maeve and the Imani on their side, and then there's an Androxus on the opposite side. What do you key in on here, Gore?
I mean, honestly, the last time we saw this Androxus come through, I believe it was from the Knights, a while ago that they were playing. Didn't quite clean up, I think, the way they had expected it to. I believe it was also a Stone Keep map. So a lot of pressure, I think, onto Ricotta to perform really well here, especially against a Maeve and an Imani. But he does, I want to say, maybe have a little of an advantage. I think he's going to be able to box out an Imani pretty well if he gets the drop on her like this.
Well, there's the dash and the punch and the reversal. Mr. Hayes likely to lose this 1v1, and he does. G-Bunny and Ricotta. It's a couple now for the Atlas here. Unfortunately for Random Noob, he falls. I honestly couldn't even keep up with that. It looks like the Knights just had that calculated from the get-go, a clean 5, only losing 1 in the meantime. And the Androxus flank there really just threw a wrench in the plans of Envy.
Yeah, you don't necessarily expect, 1, someone to ever be that aggressive, and 2, to come from above you when it happens. There's also a very key moment. Could have turned around, but Mr. Hayes, when he backed up into the corner, he was going for the reload, looking for the stun, ends up throwing it into the wall, so it doesn't have the time or chance to connect to Ricotta right there.
Oh.
And so, of course, it is going to be the Knights right there that are able to collapse that one and keep control of it. It is Rock Monkey maybe able to help find some return damage, maybe a return kill here.
Yeah, it's not able to get a touch there, our Envy. Just a little bit too little, a little too late coming out from that one. It was essentially 90% on the point by the time Envy were in there, able to get a touch. So they give it over here. Pittsburgh not looking like they want to roll over here in game number 5. Envy trying to take it right now. They could end the set with a win here. G-Bunny's going low. He's going to rewind himself up to basically full health. He's getting the Genos buff as well. It's been playing off pretty well in this case for him, I think. But Envy have a pretty good defensive lineup here as well. They have the Overpower ready to go. There's a Midnight. This will confuse Pittsburgh a little bit, but it's not going to help when Random Noob dies almost immediately. Ricotta on the Andro hits him with a couple shots and a punch to clean that one up. Just misses the payload, keeping Tulky alive in this case. Up goes the Grumpy Bomb, and up goes Androxus as well. Here's the aggressive flank. He's going to lose about half of his health, but be able to get out alive here. Envy at the moment, though, Gore making a stand.
I mean, barely. I would say.
I mean, they're hanging on.
They're pushing them back, but there's nothing cementing it just yet. You need a couple kills here to be able to buy yourself some time. You need something that solidifies yourselves right now as Envy. Because it does kind of feel like, and this is something I was wondering about earlier in the first set, and I'm wondering about here. Is Atlas going to be the pick, or you lose against him? Is he going to be a pick and you always win? Or is he going to be we have to ban him every game? Like, where does he fall on the spectrum right now in terms of it? Like, Torvald at one point was very much if you pick him, you win. That's just how it felt. That's usually how it played out, depending on the teams. But right now, it seems to be going back and forth. Rock Monkey, I think, needs just a little bit of time to warm up, and the longer he has, the better it's going to be.
If I remember correctly from the picks and bans, I think Atlas only has like a 43% win rate.
Yeah,
I mean, we only have 1 day worth of data to go off of course. But I mean, he hasn't necessarily been like set and forget as far as this team wins as long as you pick them. And we've seen. Honestly, we've seen kind of the full spectrum of Atlas games today. You know, he wins, but he's not really the factor. He wins, and he's absolutely the reason that you won. And then you lose, and we've kind of seen all of the possible outcomes with Atlas today. But I think really the takeaway is that he is a strong pick. I imagine we'll continue to see him coming out here. There's so much utility in this kit, makes him hard to ignore. In this case, though, Ricotta's able to find one. Pan as well cleans up a kill. They could push this in with overtime ticking away. They have to be careful, though. Envy are going to have the respawns. That's a good Dread Serpent. Potentially a little defensive there. No kills just as of yet. Rubu with a couple here. Rubu with a third now in this fight. The Khan's coming alive. And that's exactly what Envy needed at that time. They stall this out and make it 1-1.
Doing exactly what they need when they need it. Of course, the hard thing right now is very much dealing with the damage coming down, I think, from Atlas. It's one of those things, he rides that very thin line, right? With the same, honestly, same line that Barrick rides on, where it's just, you are going to do decent chunks of damage in the right hands and in the right kind of, I guess, draft.
Right.
But you can die pretty quick. Like that 4250 health does not last forever. But because it's always in scenarios like this, you're looking somewhere else or you're trying to deal with some other problem, he's just getting these clean shots off.
It's just such a satisfying gun. I just can't get over it.
I'm going to have to throw it out there. Probably one of my favorite reload animations in any game because his reload animation is pulling back the bullets that have been fired. That's what his reload is.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I thought he was just reloading without hands or something like that.
He rewinds his bullets.
That's even more impressive than what I had thought. Rock Monkey here. He's going to pull out the Dragon. He is going to find some damage. That's a good spot for him. He's able to find so much AoE damage in this case. Envy off to a 3-kill start here. G-Bunny's going to try to keep himself alive. The rewind's not ready for him. And in similar fashion to how they got swept on side number 1, Envy now come in. They set the Knights off on the back foot. I think the Dragon, although we've seen kind of mixed opinions on the Dragon, but in this case, a good Dragon play from Rock Monkey kind of changes their favor.
The Dragon is in a very awkward area, and that is that to make a big play with the Dragon, you have to be in a good position.
Right.
You have to really hope they don't have Bulldozer and that they're not going to pay as much attention to you as they could. Overall, it definitely works out there for Rock Monkey, and that's the second time he's done it today, so it's possible to do it regularly. Unfortunately, it's not enough to close it out. They lose 3 members there, maybe 4 if they don't play this properly. G-Bunny gets aggressive, looking for that shot. He's going to be able to find it.
Nice. And that just shows you how important that the stasis wall as well, the field that G-Bunny just put up. All of his teammates were on the point, and they had mid to low health bars, and he throws up that wall, and his entire team out of nowhere a save. Here's the Dome Shield. It's going to buy Envy some time and a little bit of space here. Overtime essentially for both teams, whoever wins this one. There's the Midnight. You got to hit your shots, Ricotta, and he just does just that. Rock Monkey's able to flip one back, though. Payan's going to be the one to find a few, as well as Rock Monkey. Rubu is the last one standing. He's going to fall. And Envy, after a contentious point fight, they had overtime in their favor. Knights win it with the use of some ultimates, and now they're back on the offensive push.
Being able to hold on to it, although just narrowly, honestly. Envy can maybe play around with some of the scoring if they want to. It's a dangerous game to play on Stone Keep, especially with the way the Knights are playing right now. They are locked in. But this is that area where you start to question, is it worth going 3-1, having the comeback mechanic? Like, that fight is confirmed your point if you have comeback mechanic. But it's a dangerous, again, dangerous game to play. Of course, with kills like this, you don't have to worry about it. You can go 2-2 and still pull it back. Because as of now, it's 3-1. And Envy, it's the last 3 maps they've won. They won their pick and then 2 of the Knights picks. So if they can grab this one, they not only close out the set, but they might just have to make the Knights rethink their drafting style for the maps.
No, I agree. I mean, they've prioritized Atlas relatively heavily. First couple of games, though, he was coming out, what, 7th and 5th or something along those lines in the first few picks. First pick here for the Knights. Atlas is going to come out, showing that he's pretty contented, to say the least here. We haven't really talked about Rock Monkey on the Mave yet this game. Sort of an interesting pick to look at. Or a random noob, excuse me, on the Mave. Sort of an interesting pick to look at. I like it. I mean, I think it's just an interesting enough ultimate that throws the team fight kind of through a loop. When you're able to essentially eliminate vision from everyone on the opposite team, can really open some doors for you.
And it just, again, when you're in an FPS, when everything's all about your aim, your reactions, what you see.
Yep. You can only hit what you see.
Makes a big difference. And with no casting on the side, like, that is one of the big counters to it, right? It's like, cool, I'm just going to go ahead and get vision for this anyway. So even though you don't see in the true sense that you normally would, you do still have the silhouettes to kind of play off of. But here, they just get, once Midnight comes through, it's locked them down. They get the point, doesn't even matter. No ults for the Mave or the Barrack here. But there's also no Banish and no banner there for the Ashe, so they are going to have to play this kind of on an even playing field.
We haven't necessarily seen any huge Banish plays yet today. I mean, the rest of the kit really being the shining light here for Atlas. I mean, just having members of the enemy team just out of commission for a few seconds is huge. Not necessarily maybe the flashiest ultimate that you can use. Haven't seen any necessarily game-changing Atlas ults yet up to this point.
And they're using it appropriately.
Yeah, they are.
It's exactly what you said. It's, I'm going to get 2 to 3 of you gone. We're going to fight the other 3 in a 3v5, win that fight, and then when you come back, it's either a 3v5 or a 2v5. Like, no matter what, we're walking out of this pretty happy.
Unfortunately, not happy as Cuss Cutie. Through time and space comes up a little bit wide here. Random Noob just zoning out 2 members now of the Knights. G-Bunny with no rewind available falls as well. But watch out if you're on the side of Envy. You won the fight last time. Rock Monkey with a couple now on the Imani. He had a big game on Imani last time we saw him. We need another one now. They have the fast cap. 46, 50% in climbing here for them. A good zone could put things up to 2 here for them. Here comes the Dragon as well. Interesting Dragon timing. Maybe just buying a little bit of time, a little bit of space here. Getting some vision as well. King Bomb's going to come out. Look how much he's melting G-Bunny. Oh my, the Dragon does so much damage. That's a double now for Rock Monkey on the Dragon. And nobody's turning and looking at him. He could make it 3. The banner doesn't come down now for Dethroner, and Rock Monkey with a game-changing Dragon. That's a really well-played Imani ultimate. Good job there from Rock Monkey.
And again, the key factors, good positioning. Nobody on the Knights can get to him without making it through Envy first, which makes it safe for him to be able to throw that ult out. And then the way, the pathing of the Dragon. Everyone, you hear the Dragon call come out. You hear the ult, and it's like, okay, he's going to come flying over the point. He goes around the other side of the map, and unfortunately for G-Bunny, and fortunately for Rock Monkey, it's just after the rewind for himself. You see Atlas literally come back. He's like, cool, full health. Let's get back in this, baby. And then he gets melted down almost immediately.
That's some of the highest DPS I maybe have ever seen outside of like a sticky bomb trap laid by a Bomb King. That's a high damage Dragon right there. It's not going to matter for the Knights, at least at the moment, though. They have Envy pretty forcibly pushed back into their own base, not even on the payload yet. Wait, but Rubu's made it around the rest of the team here. They could stall it out and actually get this payload moving forward. Rubu's the only one. There is one Knights player who just respawned right now, but in the meantime, the payload's moving forward, and that's kind of the important takeaway here.
I mean, this is exactly what Envy have been able to do in the past. It's happened mainly to Kanga, unfortunately
Now he's
for
behind
them.
him.
But it has been a good positioning here. Again, and this is, you get a little bit of payload push, and you collapse in on them and are the pincer, essentially, that your team needs when they need it. You collapse in, keep it as a 3v5, and you can move back up, and you've bought all this room.
I mean, it's so different. I mean, we're talking about seconds here, of course, but, you know, the difference between the payload being here when they finally fight back to it versus back on the starting point, I mean, that's, you know, 10, 15 seconds there towards the end of the game that you don't have to worry about fighting through it on overtime. Here's the Midnight. Could be game-changing. Could tie things up here if Envy are able to win this fight. Rakata's going to be the first to fall. Didn't have the vision. Didn't know where the damage was coming from, really. So one down now on the side of the Knights. The rest of the damage soon to follow. Random Noob is just electing to kind of hang back and pour out damage. Only one's going to get traded back on. But they kind of stabilize here. Envy not pushing too hard just as of yet. They don't want to bite off more than they can chew. Random Noob just tried and true, pouring out some damage.
I mean, good angle. Reversal's going to come down, but you should be able to get this kill pretty easily. Random Noob in a good position right now.
Around.
They're going to be able to trade
63 health.
63 health,
oh
and he walks out alive.
He keeps himself alive for so long and finds the picks. He's just dancing up and over that bridge over and over and over again. Only 3 now defending for the Knights, but the respawns are going to be coming back in their favor. Too many kills start to get traded out. This is going to be looking tough here for Envy to get it pushed through. G-Bunny comes back right at the right time, but the reinforcements are here on the side of Envy. They have some ultimates to boot if they want to use them. A 1-for-1 to start off this fight. Make it a 2-for-1 though. Cuss Cutie snipes out Random Noob. The Maeve is back to base. Rubu's back to base as well. And a solid defense there from the Knights. But hats off, in my eyes, to Random Noob on the Maeve. He was dancing so well, just over and under, utilizing his position so well on that Maeve. That's the only reason I think Envy really had a shot to get that one pushed in.
And honestly, that not getting pushed all the way, even though it looked really good at the end, still does come up, I want to say, at an advantage for Envy, just because you come into this 3-2, not necessarily the best scoreline again. All the Knights have to do is win 2 solid team fights. Yeah. One at the very beginning and then one on the zone, and they can win this map, push you to one more, a game 6, I believe. But or game 5, sorry, as we come through.
No, this is game 5.
Okay, I'm lit.
Wait,
don't mind me. Math is hard.
No, I was thinking the same thing.
Okay, I said 6, and I was like, that's way too far. We haven't been here long enough for 6 games. But it has been. And as of right now, the Knights are the ones that are trying to maybe prove that right. A nice rewind right before the dome shield, so it gets kind of relocated.
I actually think the rewind came up in his favor there. He got out of the through time and space thanks to getting rewinded out of it. In the meantime, though, only a couple kills for both sides. The rewind coming out now onto Rubu. That's going to get him out of the line of sight of G-Bunny. And yet again, the Atlas is the last one alive here, and Random Noob makes his way around the backside. Ooh, gets caught out there by Pan right as the Midnight was about to come out. The cooldown's back on reset, but here's the Bomb King. He's starting to roll. He has a double so far in this fight. He could make it a triple right now. Unfortunately, Rakata steals it away, and the Knights now are on the point, looking to end this game.
Eyes are on Rockmonkey right now. He has the Dragon available for him. That has been point-changing in the past, but is it going to come through at any point? It's going to be up to whether or not they give rid of the Sandroxus, I think. I don't think he feels safe enough to throw it out there until just now.
Here it is.
He's really far back, so if anyone tries to collapse on him, they're going to have to spend that time. You can actually see down in the bottom right a couple of members trying to hunt him down, but it is going to be the bulldozer that pays off.
It got blown up so fast. He was able to get a couple of members actually really, really low there. The Dethroner was so close to going back. G-Bunny gets caught out in his ultimate now. Mr. Hayes and Rubu with a couple. Rubu's going to get aggressive here. Ash could be the next to fall. Dethroner is the next one to go down. It's just up to Cuss Cutie to try to keep this one from getting converted. 99, overtime ticking away. Dethroner falls out, and it looks like Envy are going to get to try offense again.
I mean, if there's anything that Dragon did, let's find a little bit of damage. That did follow up a kill onto Pan, made it a little more difficult. Or not Pan, sorry,
nice.
onto Rakata to be able to get rid of the Androxus. But also kind of distracted everybody. Hey, you got to pay attention to the Dragon. Rockmonkey's been making plays with this. You can't just let it slide. You have to blow it up. And also, if you don't shoot at it, what's the point of having the bulldozer that you've bought into, right? So you have to pay attention to this. But because of that, it kind of separates the attention and lets Envy have a little more wiggle room to be able to come in and be like, cool, they're not looking at me. Let's hit these shots.
No, absolutely. Let's take a quick look at the items. I kind of want to see how Bulldozer they're getting on the opposite side. So three Bulldozer threes for the Knights. So that's gonna melt that Dragon down pretty heavily here, Gore. And that's kind of what I've gathered as far as playing against the Dragon. It's almost a team effort where everyone just needs to turn and melt it so you can go back to the rest of the team fight. But that buys just enough time for Envy to win the point fight here.
I mean, 3 Bulldozer threes, all shooting the Dragon means, well, it dies about just as quick as you saw. Like about 2, 3, 4 seconds max, right? Where once they get vision on it, they're going to be able to just decimate that thing. And that, I think, is one of the bigger plays that you could have, is just get rid of that ult and kind of make it feel useless.
Ooh,
But
nice.
even still, Rock Monkey made it feel useful.
He did. Team Envy, a clean 4 sweep here to get back to the point. It's kind of where it was last time. Almost a mirror image of the last game for them, having to fight their way back to the payload and then potentially back into the other team's base. But they used a lot to get back to the payload here, Gore. They used the Overpower as well as the Dread Serpent and the Midnight. On the opposite side, the Knights have almost all of their ultimates ready. So Envy might be thinking they're not going to win this round, but they find a couple kills. This could start to go in their favor if they stagger these out well enough. Through time and space is going to come up wide right now. Do they know where the Bomb King is, though? And they do. Pain is going to be the one to fall. G-Bunny stops the bleeding just a little bit and cleans up Rock Monkey right now. Envy pushing through with a chance to end the day here for the Knights. Only through time and space used for them. Envy now, Gore, they have some ultimates coming up on their side as well.
Dome Shield might not come out unless we hit overtime. But I'm looking at the Dragon. If the Dragon comes out early, that is Envy hitting the gas pedal. That is Envy trying to close this out. That is a good kill for Random Noob right there. Again, being able to press the aggression. And now they're going to be able to throw out the Midnight, potentially get aggressive, try to find the boxing match with the Throner and Ricotta combined for a kill.
Looks like this could be the end of it, the offensive push here for Envy. Rubu staying aggressive on the con, just charging up some ults. I think that's a good way of looking at it here. The kill starting to fall in favor of Blue. At the moment, though, it's a 2-for-1 for Envy. The Dome Shield comes out as well. They're starting to use a lot of it. G-Bunny goes down. This could actually end up getting pushed through here. Rock Monkey looking to find one on the Cuss Cutie. He gets aggressive. The Void Grip holds him up in the air, but he loses. Ricotta spawns right at the last second here. Dethroner's the next to go down, though. But the respawns are starting to come out now for the Knights. Tulky with a double kill now. That payload is so close to going through. Payan now has 2 in this fight. He's looking to save this for his team right now. It's 3-3, keeping himself alive. Rubu goes back to base, and the Knights have stopped the push against all odds.
Dome Shield comes down to push a little harder, right? Comes in to be like, we're in overtime. Let's see what we can do.
Yep.
And then the minute they don't have, I think, the exact performance, and again, I'm looking at that Dragon. Does it come through enough to be able to buy some space? No, Rock Monkey gets aggressive. Maybe if he plays that back a little further, it goes a little different. He does get right in their face, and when the respawn's coming through, like trying to kill off Cuss would be valuable, but it was not, because he just ends up putting himself right in Ricotta's crosshairs. But now you have a Dragon, you have an Overpower, and you were able to burn a fair amount of ults from the Knights. They have a through time and space, and that is it to work with here. So you burned everything you wanted coming into this round. Admittedly, I think Envy still has an advantage.
I think they do. I mean, the Overpower is good for one. I mean, you essentially eliminate one member of the opposing team right off the bat for free. The Dragon as well could come into play, especially with the Knights kind of grouped up in this back room. That's where we've seen the Dragon find a lot of value. It's depending on where the Imani wants to. Is the Overpower good? It is, but it gets thrown out right now. Here's the Dragon. This could be game-changing, depending on how they find it. 2 kills now, 3 now for Envy. Cuss Cutie only is able to find 1. There's nobody left to take the Dragon down, and now we could see this turn into a zoning Dragon. He's flying back to their base. He could find the dismounts. This could be huge for Envy.
Rock, that was that moment where he's like, let's see if I can get close enough to get some dismounts, get some damage, and then he realized, wait, I'm standing on their side.
I'm in their
I
base.
need to get out of here as fast as I possibly can, but that is going to afford them 70% and rising still for Envy as they keep pushing it down. They're going to need a couple kills to close it out. Can they find them?
There's no ultimates ready for either team. This is going to come down to who finds the picks, who finds the kills early enough. Envy trying to end the day here. Random Noob down to very low health here. Tulky's getting chunked out. Nobody's losing at the moment. Envy take a step off of the point here. Don't want to lose it just yet. Realize we have some time. Nobody has fast cap just yet. 57, 60% now for the Knights. This is going to come down to, honestly, the last team fight. Either team is close enough that they could win off one kill. Payan, that's a big one. The Bomb King going down. The Dread Serpent as well. That's going to send one running. Envy look poised to take this one. Cuss Cutie gets rid of Random Noob, but Rakata flips this fight on its head here. Rubu's trying to get aggressive now. He doesn't find a target with the Commander's grab at the moment. Rakata flips it around. He has a double kill. Make it 3 now in this fight. Dethroner steals the third away, and the Knights steal victory away from Envy, and they are going to take it here on Stone Keep. What a turnaround there from the Knights. It looked like Envy was going to win it there for a moment. Gore Rakata goes huge on the Andro, and they steal victory right out of the jaws of defeat.
I mean, very similar to if you're watching game number 2, right? You don't know what all you can rely on. You don't know who's going to pull it all in your favor. Rock Monkey did it for Envy earlier.
Yep.
Rakata does it here for the Knights. Exactly what they needed, exactly when they needed it. If that goes a second later,
yeah,
he's not able. They don't
Right.
close that out. This set's done and dusted.
Nearly is. That doesn't get your heart pumping. I don't know what does. Envy so close to ending the day. Instead, it's the Knights who fight back in this case. It's 3-2 now here in the set. Envy still on set point. Send it back to the desk to break it down.
And oh man, that was funny in a lot of different ways. One of my favorite moments was Dave realizing how much Imani's Dragon did damage-wise, and you could tell the audible surprise as it melted the tanks. That's after many nerfs as well, so you could tell that thing is threatening. Don't let it get close to you. That's why they all bought Bulldozer. But a great finish to that fight as well. I mean, it was so contested towards the end.
There's 2 moments. The one right there at the end that we got to as a result of the other one, where if that Commander's grab hits Rakata just dies.
Yeah.
And that fight goes very differently, I think. So a small misstep from Rubu. Also, there was a moment, I think it was in this round, where Envy were kind of like having this great push. Random Noob was barely staying alive. I'm pretty sure Random Noob could have just walked to the payload and pushed it in.
Yeah, that's true.
They were fighting a bunch of people in the corner. I don't think there was anyone up on the top rope.
It's the round before, but you're right.
And Noob just kind of dived in there and was like, I don't know.
And there was also, I mean, that's totally true. A lot of min-max things. We can talk about that last round as well, because I think there's 2 things that happened in the round right before. One, we got to talk about how Envy used the Dome Shield. They commit all those ultimates, and they basically say, we're trying to win now. Then they don't have the ultimates for this round. So we'll talk about that. But the other thing is, in this moment, they get the exile. G-Bunny exiles, I believe it's Rock Monkey. And Payan sets up the bomb trap, and it only does like half damage. I mean, I know in his mind, in our mind, we're looking at that, we're thinking that should be a one-hit kill, and it doesn't happen for whatever reason, the angle, and they commit. Payan ends up going down immediately after that with a King Bomb in tow. So a lot of interesting min-max things, but do you think they were wrong to try to hit the gas pedal there, Envy, and eventually not be able to push that one at 3-2?
That's a matter of like who makes the call. It's tough to know what they're seeing that gives them that hope, because it's always something, and somebody makes that call, and then it's up to you guys to follow it. They save Overpower and they save Dragon, which are 2 massive ultimates, especially where it's kind of like you have a foot in each door. I think Dragon and Overpower, when you're trying to convert a payload or capture a point, are 2 of the best, especially on Stone Keep at the end when you can throw anybody off. When the Dragon, you could just hide in that little tunnel and just shoot your fire breath out like a little flamethrower from under the cannon. Atlas will see a ban this game, but it felt like Envy weren't fully committed to that call.
Yeah.
And that's the problem that I have with those types of calls. It's all or nothing.
Shattered Desert here will be map for Game 6. Yes, this has been a 6-game fest, and everything that we thought for today probably is turned on its head. We thought maybe SSG and NIP would go the distance, and Envy might have maybe an easier day against the Knights because they definitely needed this win, but it is not coming easily, not at all. Knights win Game 1, they win Game 5, and now they have a chance to win Game 6, tie up the set, force a Game 7, the Atlas ban from Envy. And the same couple of bans that we've seen Envy do, actually for the Knights now. No more Pip, no more Eevee. They're going Makoa, Torvald on their side.
And a very different first couple of picks as a result.
In
Early
this game,
prioritization
you win
of
or
the
you
Damba.
die. There
Given
is
the
no
Genos
middle
ban here, the
ground.
Knights don't want to go to anything else. Cuss is such a top-tier Damba player. I think it makes pretty good sense there. Leon as well. Maybe a bit of a return to normalcy with Atlas taking a seat.
Damba Leon, I mean, I guess one of the big conversation pieces has to be that the Knights prioritizing
You
who they feel is a very, very strong damage pick. And also not caring too much about that frontline pressure. And maybe leaving in their pocket the opportunity to flex something special as far as that front line or that flank that Envy may not see coming. The pip, something that we know is not banned anymore, that has been extremely valuable on maps like this, could be in the eyes of the Knights and paying.
I'm still kind of looking for Imani on this map, man. The way people group up.
Well, Envy
Kinda
can't
like
get it now because they've got Cassie.
Gosh dang it.
Remember, that's the rule.
That's the rule. And we don't break the rules.
And that's not a joke, though. That's truly the rule. She's banned if you have Cassie. So now, really, the only person who can take Imani are the Knights if they want to. But there's that pip we were talking about and the Ashe.
I mean, the Knights have done a good job. You would imagine, like, Payan would have been the Andro player there, but good. Shouts out to Ricotta to kind of switch things up and play that for him so he can still get the king. Back on Stone Keep, the Knights are showing some versatility today, and that is exactly what this meta demands. There is so much viable stuff. You have to make sure that you can't get picked or banned into a corner, picking out, really kind of picking on Random Noob today. He's going to get his first EV of the set. We'll see what he can do with it.
And it should be the Barrack here for the Knights, you would think. But it may not be that way. You do see that the Ashe is something that they truly do enjoy. And it will be the Barrack to accompany. So maybe just the Ruckus might have been the only change, but that would be two aggro tanks. Barrack and Ashe, one going to hold down the point, one going to be a little bit more aggressive from range. Pip to bounce around, and Damba to main heal with Leon to apply that long-range imminence pressure for as long as it can stay imminent because it's getting nerfed this upcoming patch.
I like this. I like both these comps, to be honest. It feels like a lot of people are on something very comfortable, which is almost could be said about every game this set. I would say there's a couple in there where a couple of things were a little bit uncomfortable for these guys, but here with Random back on the Eevee, I like where Envy are sitting. This is their map pick, and I think this is the time. Gotta shut this one out. Don't let the Knights creep back into this.
Well, G-Bunny there, as you can see. The big aggressive front line for this Pittsburgh squad, trying to crawl back in a set against Envy, which every game has to be taken. Nothing is given here. As we head to Game 6 on no other location than the Shattered Desert, where the man from time came back in time as well. Let's send it down to Dave and Gore to get this next game started.
To Shattered Desert we go for game number 6. Atlas just taken off the board in this one. Banned straight away there from Envy. Not picked for either side, unfortunately, on Shattered Desert. But I agree with one thing the desk said, and that I think Envy need to clean this up now. Not that there's any higher or lower percentage in game 6 or game 7 in my eyes for them, but when you look at just pure momentum, if the Knights are able to win 2 straight, momentum's certainly in their favor at that point.
Yeah, it definitely means a lot more for them as well. And I'm enamored by this map, especially after yesterday seeing kind of the reveal of Bazaar, which shares a lot of motifs with this one. And just seeing the dance around, I'm kind of curious to see how the Knights want to kind of break this eggshell that is Envy right now. Because it isn't going to be the easiest thing to lock down this Eevee.
You know, I mean, speaking of the Eevee, you have Random Noob on the Eevee.
Yeah, finally.
And you have Rock Monkey on Cassie. I mean, second maybe only to his Leon. Either way, though, Envy on some comfort picks here. They got 48% on the point. Unfortunately, Random Noob is going to be the one to fall first off. The Knights have kind of regained the point here, and the dance continues. It's a big circular roundabout way of fighting until one team eventually gets picked out more than the other team. In this case, it's tied up at 54. Neither team. It's a pretty good convergence. That's going to set things up well here for Envy. Rubu and Mr. Hayes are going to be the first two to find a kill here. Toki makes it 3. Everyone getting in on the action here for Envy. 81% and climbing now on the point for them, and there's only 2 left alive for the Knights. A good Dread Serpent comes out, sends a few running here, but Toki, he finds the kill, and Envy find the first point.
And this is definitely Envy playing the control game, right? They get G-Bunny onto, admittedly, and this is going to sound weird to say it, something that he's less comfortable on right now than it seems the Atlas. Like, the Atlas has been looking really good.
Right.
You force him onto the Ashe, which is something that Envy, at this point, they know how to deal with, right? It's a tried and true. You play either with it or against it almost every game, right? So being able to kind of force G-Bunny on into, like, normal territory and
Right.
control him a little more, I think is making the zone a little easier for them overall.
The G-Bunny's had some great games on the Ash in the past, though. That's never someone you can count out. The Ice Storm's good for one on to pay in here. Kills are all blue at the moment. Random Noob caught out, but the rest of his team comes to support him. Rock Monkey with 3 in this fight now. There's the Cassie that we've been looking for. 4 streaks now for Envy. They're looking to push this one through.
Good shots from the side. But it's really the kills
One
that are
death.
going to matter. 1 kill for the Knights, 1 death
Yep.
for Envy. That's the trade that's going to come through. And it's on to Random Noob, which again, probably the easiest person to kill on that team. The easiest to find out of position, and honestly, a burst of 1800 is not hard to find between a Leon, a Pip, and an Ash.
Good Evil Mojo just jumping around the corner, though, is Rock Monkey. He's going to turn around a little bit of damage. He's probably going to trade out his life. He does. Ricotta and G-Bunny stop their killless streak here. They stop it short. Envy on the back foot. Random Noob's able to stall things out just for a moment. The payload's close. This is kind of what we've seen on Shattered Desert Gore, where it's almost like a downhill path. Once you get around this corner, the rest of your team can kind of shoot through any one of those 3 routes, and kills start falling in your favor as they are here. Envy are dangerously close to putting it through.
Tolkien just face tanks that and says,
Yep.
good luck, it's my birthday. I don't even feel enlightenment damage. Let's keep going.
Ooh,
and they're going to keep
nice.
finding these kills shot after shot. Of course, just as important, I want to
Right.
throw it out there again. It is Blake's birthday. So happy
So many
birthday to Blake.
birthdays in-house right now. It's a birthday.
If
it's a
Tolkien wins
birthday
this,
day.
he wins it for you too.
You know what? He's playing for 2 today. He's playing for 2.
But he's not pregnant. Don't get that wrong.
Oh,
We don't need to
that
dissect it.
was the ground I was trying to tread there. He's playing for 2.
Playing for 2. Well, so I look at this in 2 ways, right? Last week, Phoenix had his birthday.
Yep.
The set they played, I believe, against Virtus Pro, 4-3 in favor of Virtus Pro. If the Knights win this one and Envy loses a 4-3, that sets the precedent to not have your birthday on a PPL day.
Yep.
Because you will lose your set.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. Hoping
gotta
to
be
break,
careful here,
hoping to break that mold here is Tolkien.
Then we're
And-
50-50. You never know.
I mean, we talked about there being 1 kill on the side of Knights going into. It was really the payload push when we noticed they had 1 kill after that point fight. They only picked up 2 more in the rest of that game. All 5 members of Envy are streaking right now. They have some resilience on their side as well. That'll keep them alive through the Evil Mojos. Payan having a bit of a tough game, as well as G-Bunny on the Ash. Down comes the Assert Dominance. Ricotta is going to find the first kill of this engagement. Spending a lot, though. Rock Monkey not missing any shots. G-Bunny's the
That's
first to
just
fall.
okay.
You have the Seismic Crash. You have the Convergence. Only Evil Mojo ready for the Knights here. And Rock Monkey, well, he's taken the game into his own hands. He's not missing. Random Noob getting up into the face. Rock Monkey, he's coming alive here, going into the final stretch. 7 streak for the Cassie.
You know, Random Noob's on an 11 streak. Mr. Hayes is on a 13 streak. But the shots that Rock Monkey has hit
Right.
in this
That's what I-
fight
right.
have just been so phenomenal. Like, there was a moment where it's just, I just need to hit between 2 people here to find the Ash that's on almost the other side of the point compared to where I am. Like, a long haul, very thread-the-needle shot still finds it.
Yep. They also find the Seismic Crash. Payan is going to be the one to drop as a result. There's the Enlightenment. Ricotta's got his back turned to the true threat, which is Toki. Rock Monkey's going to be the one to drop that kill, but Toki's just chilling on the point. Nobody's eyes are on him right now. He's just plugging away at Dethroner. Here comes the true threat from the opposite side. That's a bit of a reactionary dome shield just to buy some time, it looks like. They do have fast caps, so that will go up relatively quickly. Dethroner is going to get rid of the Inara now, but they have no ultimates left. It was only the dome shield. The Dread Serpent will be up soon. The overpower's around for Envy. We talked to Meta Pusher, and he said, you know, if we have the chance of making it 3-0 or 3-1, we'll use our ultimates. So maybe expect to see some of those come out. The overpower did. Ricotta and Random Noob trading back and forth on kill score. This could decide point number 3.
I mean, the shots are good right now. Random Noob's kind of making everyone turn their head. You pay attention to them, and you might be able to take them down, but if you don't, that's going to be a ton of damage just being poured in from a line you're not
Nice.
looking at. 850 there. That got hit onto Ricotta, and then it's just cleaning up the kills. And like you said, they don't care if they have to pop some ults to get there. Envy are going to be able to push this one forward, and if they find this, they will find themselves a 4-2 over the Knights.
That's exactly the situation that Meta Pusher was talking about when we sort of asked him about when to use your ultimates, when to hold on, things like that.
You
Actually,
gotta know when to hold them.
you got to know when to fold them. Know when to
No one
walk
to walk
away. Good song. Good song, better guy in Meta Pusher's case. I actually might have been off cam. I was talking to him. Oh, that's a good convergence. That's going to pull in a couple. Here comes a seismic crash as well. I might not have time to analyze. That's 2 now stunned out. Cuskutie's going to fall. That's a clean blue kill feed here for Envy. They're rounding the corner. Minute and 45 seconds left. They got time. They got space. They have an Ice Storm. They have the Cassie Scout. Well, you know where they're coming from, so that's not going to come out. But no
I
ultimates.
wonder where they could
I wonder
be.
where they are. Only Evil Mojo is ready here for the Knights, but going low are the health bars.
That was one of those moments
It's getting
where
close.
I honestly, like, I feel like you don't need to be a fan of Envy to be able to watch
Nice.
that and be like, that was just really good
Right.
teamwork, right? Like, that's the one thing I love
There's the
about
Ice
this
Storm.
high-level play is being able to watch these teams work together. Right now, though, without Rubu,
Rock
can
Monkey.
they still do it?
Rock Monkey with 3. There's the Dread Serpent, sends random noob running, but I think it might be just too little, too late. You have to watch for the respawns, but all the kills are coming up blue right now. Toki on the Inara. That's a good disengage, but here are the respawns. Pittsburgh Knights are going to start coming back if they start cleaning up some of these kills. Saris is so low, but they don't end up getting the kill. The overpower comes back on cooldown. The kills are coming up blue. And Envy take our second set of the day. They win game 6, and they look convincing doing it.
I'm going to throw this back to the beginning of the day. And it's the one thing Kresnik said about Imani when he was asked. And he says, well, does she have big game? And that, I think, is the answer right there. Imani could come through, could look really good on that map. Does she have big game? Does she have the ability to displace the front line and burn them down?
Well, in this case, the Cassie did, and it was on Envy's side. They win our second set 4-2. Let's send it back to the desk.
Well, well, well. Envy, they get their win, the elusive win they've been looking for the last little while. Break the losing streak and get some bright spirits heading into their team home as they finish up the day 4-2 against Pittsburgh.
Yeah, tough one there for the Knights. Good first little start there. Very back and forth, which is why I'm sure you've seen the somber look from Cuss. Not happy, clearly, but the Throne are just happy to be here. Just happy to make it into the studio. A little car trouble keeping him on his toes. But my goodness, what a game there. Random Noob finally getting Eevee looking really, really good on it. Also, Toki on Inara was very, very good, I thought. Lots of moments of great control, but the damage and the tracking from that Stone Spear was very, very impactful.
Yeah, man. I mean, the guy has a quadra kill in the World Championship semifinals, so you know he definitely knows what to do with that champion when given the opportunity. And it was his birthday today, so obviously, if you were betting against the birthday boys, including Blake, you bet wrong. They took home the W's in many ways. Toki with a victory, Blake with some cupcakes.
Had to say it was a good day.
Had to say today was a good day.
Love it. Great stuff all around. 1-11 for Payans Pip as well. Envy, they've got the sauce. They figured it out. That was banned all set by the Knights. They finally let it through for themselves and easily dealt with.
And that's something you could do.
Having the Yellow Ranger build. Look at it. In all of its golden glory.
Ooh.
Sorry to cut you off. I thought
No.
this might be worth it.
Oh, beautiful. I mean, I think, though, you know, you look at it, you ban someone out all set long, and then you let it maybe the last game, it really can be much more of a question mark to them, especially if they haven't had any warm-up games, they haven't had any games that don't matter. This is a closeout game, and so he brought it out, but it was fresh, didn't have the impact. Yeah, really the range from Team Envy here and the poke. It really just shifted their way. And maybe it wasn't. It was the fact that he was playing Pepper, not Pip.
That is true. Not the same character,
Pip
folks.
didn't lose. Pip didn't lose.
Easy for
Pepper
Pip.
They have the
Hard
same
for
skill
Pepper.
set. They have the same skill set, but different character entirely.
Yes, totally.
Ask anybody who works for Paladins. They'll tell you that's exactly the truth.
Big impulse game for Rock Monkey, even though Big Game has been running amok. He's looking very, very good for it. That is going to be one of the important wins to make sure the Envy stay on the tracks and don't continue this downward spiral.
Yeah, well, let's take a look how the standings have shaken up after today. NIP, they took a win, and they stay 6-0. Space Station Gaming, they played a lot less than other people, but at this point, they are still in third given that they only have one loss, and that one's to the undefeated NIP Ninjas in Pajamas. Nas Vincere, a little high there as well, tied up with Virtus Pro essentially, but a better game plus-minus differential. And Envy now in the 3-win club.
That NIP plus-minus, man. There's the updated standings after today, Envy 4 and 3. Taking just a little hop up over Virtus Pro here, but obviously have being played more games in them. It's going to ebb and flow a little bit as, teams will come play for 2-3 weeks, then take, a couple bye weeks, and a new fresh rotation will come in.
Yeah, Navi and obviously Virtus Pro still only 2 losses. That's probably the thing to look at as well, especially, if they can just keep that pace up, they're technically going to stay ahead. But it is Envy who have now gotten a lot of games under their belt. They've seen nearly every team in the PPL aside from themselves. Only got a couple more to play, I believe, because they've already played 7 games. They're the 8th, so it might be 2 more teams that they haven't actually faced yet. But it's been a fantastic opportunity for them to showcase their stuff, go through the trials of, Herculean trials, essentially. And if you guys want to stay tuned with us for more PPL, well, good luck. You have less than 24 hours to get back here and catch the start of tomorrow, which will be a triple header. Space Station, Renegades, Navi, NIP, Virtus Pro, Kanga, all in the building. This week, everybody plays. And so it's going to be a very exciting one indeed. A lot of variety. Your favorite team will be here, that's for sure.
I'm really looking forward to this Navi-NIP matchup. I think that's really going to set the standards for a lot of the rest of this split. Are they truly the team to catch? Can Mutu play as many picks as Bittner's been playing right now? It's going to be a very, very exciting match to watch. That is the one you do not want to miss.
All right, well, we'll see you all here for sure on our end back at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Early.
However, we are going to be going to an interview and closing out the show over there. So we'll see you later. Let's send it down to the champions of this last set, Envy. And I believe we have Tolkien and Random Noob waiting by.
Thank you, guys. First of all, congratulations. Big win on your set today. Got off to a bit of a rough start, but then you guys started to roll a little bit after that. What changed from game 1 to the rest of your games?
I don't think much changed, to be honest. We just, stuck to our guns. We kind of expected they were going to draft a little weird, and we weren't necessarily ready for it on game 1. And they took away, picks that we liked. So I think we just stuck to what we know and persevered from there.
So in Stone Keep, you're going in. It's 3-2, like you guys are, or 3-3. You're going in for the push. Like you can see, like a dome shield comes out, but there's no dragon, there's no overpower. Like you're kind of still on the fence about whether or not you want to go for the full push. And then going into the final fight, like what's the mentality for the team, knowing that right now the Knights are looking really good on the map?
So the reason the dragon wasn't used was Rock wasn't in a safe position to use the dragon at the end push, so we couldn't use it there. And I think Ruby was pressured too much, so he couldn't use the overpower.
I think he was dead. I think he was coming back from respawn.
So those 2 ults were saved, kind of not by choice, but kind of forced. And going into the last minute, we just probably ended the push with saying nice try, let's just refocus and see what we can do and use these ults and just go in.
I can't remember what round it was on Stone Keep, Paul, but I'm pretty sure you could have pushed a payload in instead of going for these kills. Do you remember that moment? It was the round before you guys went all in. There was a moment where there was Alice was over in the corner. I'm not exactly.
Oh yeah.
Meta might have caught this. I don't know. I was looking at it and I was watching you fight and I was like, I think he could just push the payload in right now.
I don't know. It was a tough decision. I chose to kill the Atlas because he just uses rewind. So I don't know. I thought they probably could respawn and stop it. That was my thinking there. So I was pushing it. I was
you're the backdoor king of the PPL, man. The backdoor king. Make the call. I trust you, bro. Congrats on the big set win. Happy birthday, Tolkien. We're going to close out the set, guys. Remember, 2 hours early from when we started today, 11 a.m. tomorrow, as we got 3 sets to get through. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Paladins Premier League, brought to you by Skillshot, High Res, Evil Mojo, INAP, Steel Series, and Respawn.